We do a collection in Belgium, regular collection in Belgium.
God.
And I have to tell the story, Brian.
No, you don't.
I do. I have to tell the story. And they're awkward bays to get on. Left-hand drive or right-hand drive, on your good side or your blind side. Really awkward bays. And Brian was reversing back on his bad side, and he was following the lines, but he didn't realise they weren't the lines for the bay. They were the lines to walk to the office. And he backed into the office and knocked the office off the stilts with all the people that were inside, like a port cabin office.
That is brilliant.
That
is brilliant.
We were the laughing stock for ages. We had to buy them a new port cabin.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talkin Shop. Today we're joined by Brian, Captain Slow, and Pete White of White's Transport and Sell My Truck. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next.
I saved his life last night. He was choking on a piece of meat.
Oh no!
Yeah, so he nearly wasn't here.
Oh no!
We've got a kitty for our next America trip.
Yeah,
and he's put $4,000 in it. And as he was choking last night, I was thinking if I leave him, I'll be $4,000 better off.
There you go.
And so he knew it. He nearly choked to death.
Oh dear.
Where are you going? Where's the next states tour? What's the next?
So we start off in Yellowstone. Up in Montana.
You're going to do the whole thing? Because you've got to show up about your planning first.
Oh, right, yeah. My planning is absolutely top drawer.
Have you gone full transport manager on it?
I have. My planning is the best planning. However, I did take us to the wrong hotel last night, and we were stood at reception in the wrong hotel. Yeah. So that was.
You had to get that in before I did, didn't you?
So yeah, he's going to Canada Canada for a few days, and then I needed to arrange my travel out there and his onward travel from Canada. So I've got it. So he is flying from just over the Canadian border into America, a place called Minot, into Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I fly to JFK, New York, and then I've got to I'll get over to LaGuardia, and I fly from LaGuardia to Minneapolis, and he flies into Minneapolis, and then we're on the same flight from Minneapolis into Yellowstone.
Right.
I thought that was awesome planning.
Yeah.
Until I booked his flight the wrong day, and I had to pay.
You're taking away all the.
No, we're talking about it again. I had to pay for 2 fucking flights, and it was my boat. So we meet up he's coming from Canada, I'm coming from New York, and we meet up at the same place. So
yeah,
I thought that was
we
top.
Land within about 20 minutes of each other. Yeah.
And then we're on the final flight, we're on the same flight. But yeah, we start in Yellowstone, and then it's down to honestly all
potentially through Salt Lake.
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam, and then Vegas for a few days, and then drive through Death Valley, Sequoia National Park into San Francisco, and then a couple of days in San Francisco. Yeah, I said that. And then we fly back from San Francisco.
Yeah, so, very nice.
Yeah, it should be
very nice.
I'm looking at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, just I'm looking forward. The shit thing is I wanted to hire a really nice car.
Yeah.
But because we're dropping it off at one airport and picking up from one airport, dropping off to another, you got really limited.
We found that.
I think we're going to end up with something like
that as well.
Yeah,
I just thought it was in being a time.
Yeah. No.
When we went to America last year, I hired a Dodge Charger. I think it's a.
Is the reaction on?
4 litre V6 thing.
Yeah.
4 litre V6 Dodge Charger.
And what happened then, Pete?
Yeah, they gave us a Hyundai.
Brilliant.
They offered us a Hyundai.
Yeah, and I was like, this is the American dream for us. Like, we were in Canada, to be fair, but I was like, this isn't what I ordered, and I was like, this isn't, and they don't class the car as like performance. They class it as size. So like this Hyundai is the same size.
Hyundai Elantra.
Yeah, it's the same size as your Dodge Charger, and I was like, that's what I ordered. It says here I specifically went with this company because of this car.
Yeah,
and we got mugged off.
So we asked then, have you got an alternative? So they said, well, yeah, we've got a Mitsubishi ASX.
Nice.
Yeah, little SUV. No.
We ended up with.
So he's got a curly lip then.
Yeah, I was annoyed. we ended up with a brand new delivery miles Mercedes.
Right.
Which was nice.
They turned around and said,
but it wasn't what I ordered.
The only other thing we got is a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Well, you can drive it here.
$80 extra. Like we're paying you really $1,000. What the hell's 80?
Sure. Yeah.
So we went down. It's a Mercedes C300.
Okay.
It was nice. Only had like
Yeah.
50 miles on it.
turns it on, 47 Ks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very.
So-
47 Ks.
No one
Yeah.
else has had that. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
It
many
was,
was on it when you took it back, Pete?
yeah. We did 8,000 kilometers.
Wow.
They said it was unlimited mileage. I was like, okay, we are going to
Good.
absolutely abuse this
Yeah.
for a new car. And the amazing thing about the roads in Canada, I've never experienced it before anywhere I've been. They are so wide, they're so open, and they go on forever. And I swear to God, we were doing 140 miles an hour in this Mercedes on long straight, and they are classed as B roads in Canada, but there is nothing around forever, and it's so easy to drive at that speed because you can see everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. And the roads, when you look at them on the map, and like it's like a 100-mile road in a straight line, it really is like that. It is few slight bends.
You literally can see probably 10 miles in front of you,
Yeah.
the crest of a hill. And when you get to the crest of that hill,
There's another
there's
one.
another one.
I found Canada quite boring, to be honest.
yeah,
We went there because
awesome.
Brian's got a friend there, so we went to see his friend. And then when we left there in the morning, we had really bad snow. And what month was it? June, wasn't it, or something like that?
May.
Yeah, we had really bad snow to get over the border into America.
Not
and
that he cared.
And as we got
to drive. Oh, it's snowing.
as we got further down into America, the weather then got better.
Yeah.
But we I think we did about 14 different states.
Nice.
And some really, really cool places.
Yeah.
Oh, Nashville. Nashville. was
Yeah, we
absolute-
spent
My
the
dad's just
American
been, yeah.
Memorial Weekend in Nashville.
Wow.
What a cool place to go to.
Yeah.
Really, really good place.
The people, the cars, the whole vibe.
Yeah,
about
cool
the
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
Nashville at night time just comes alive, and it was a bank holiday weekend. So, like in the UK, when you have bank holiday Sunday, when everyone gets Monday off, they're all flat out on the piss on a Sunday afternoon. That was what it was like.
Nice.
But yeah, really. But it was the Nashville is the what they call the bachelorette parts, like capital of the stag parties and hen parties. That's where they all go to Nashville. Really, really cool place.
Wow. Yeah.
But 2 days of drinking, I was like, I can't cope anymore.
No.
We need to get back on the road and start driving again because I feel awful.
But you can do some serious mileage over there. Like we flew to LA, we drove to Vegas back to LA, and then we did obviously the Pacific Coast Highway up to San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I was going to go to Sequoia National Park. I don't know if you know, do you know, Ben, what's there? Like the world's biggest trees. These trees are like 300 feet.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
There's one, is it the Grand Sherman or whatever it is? I don't know if you're going to go and see that. That looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw a comparison. Someone stood next to one, and it's like it almost looks
insane.
like
Yeah, where they got tunnels where you drive through them, like vehicles
Through
can
the
pass.
trees.
They're so big, but I haven't really put the finer details on the plan. I know roughly what we're going to do. So we've started a plan, but we didn't really book any hotels. We just sort of found one on the way. Like we knew roughly where we were going to go to. We had pinpoints of places where we wanted to visit.
Well, basically, when we went out, we were going to go to Chicago, but Dave, my friend, rang and said there's a bad weather front coming in. Don't bother going to Chicago. So we cancelled that. I wanted to go to Memphis, and I wanted to go to the faces, the presidents, Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
And basically that's all I want. Pete was on about going down to meet somebody that he met in a bar. You know, you can imagine it. Yeah. I met this guy in this bar. He said, if I'm ever down in Texas, come and visit.
I was working in Barcelona and I had a couple of days off. So I went down I found an Irish bar, and I was just sat there drinking on my own, as you do when you're a lorry driver and you work away. Quite a lot you're drinking on your own. And there was an American couple on the table, a couple down for me, and they invited me over, and I spent all afternoon drinking with them. And he had a Texan massive cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and he was a really nice bloke. And it turns out, obviously I'm in the meat industry, it turns out he owned his own ranch, raised his own cattle, slaughtered his own cattle, sold his own cattle. He had a restaurant and a shop, and like we had a lot in common, and we spent the afternoon with him. By the time I finished, I was so pissed, but he gave me his card, and I can remember him saying, if you're ever in Texas, come and say hello. So, and that was 3 years ago.
Right,
and
so you can imagine being told that story and you're thinking, like, this is going to be a disaster.
So
we're driving from Tennessee down to Texas,
which is like a 2-day drive.
Wow.
just to go see this random guy he met in a bar.
I didn't mention to this guy that I was coming or anything like that. So I'll just go there and see. He might not even be there. I'll just go there. And he's a bit of a celebrity out there. He goes on to lots of news channels and talk shows, and he's from where he is. He's very well known. And we find the place, really, really cool place. And I drive up, I go into the shop, and I ask, and his name is Robbie. And I said, is Robbie about? And he's like, yeah, he is here somewhere, but I'm not sure where he is. Have a look around. This place is huge. So I go outside and I see him in a pickup truck, and he's towing like a big smoker thing behind it. And as he drives around, he looks at me, takes a double take. And I come up to his window, and he sort of half knew, recognized me. And I said, and he looked at me, he went, Barcelona. He said, white. He's like, he couldn't believe it. And he's like, oh, come on in, let me show you around. So we went and had some dinner. We had beef brisket that's been cooking in the smoker since 3 o'clock in the morning. So we had some lunch and some like bourbon beans and some really, really cool food. And then he said, let me show you the ranch. He had this massive F-250 pickup truck. Yeah. Jumped in his pickup truck, took us out onto his ranch, showed us all the cattle and all the bulls. And really, really, really cool. And but he was telling us out there, like if there was somebody that was like breaking into his house or on his land, the police would want you to shoot them. That's he said if anybody broke it, and I was
saves us a job.
That is exactly that. And I was, don't you worry about your cattle being stolen.
Well, I said to him, because he had those big 2 diesel tanks.
Yeah,
I said, do you have a problem with diesel fares? And he said, no. He said, we all know how to shoot. Yeah. It's just the way he said it.
What he said about it, he said, all we have to do is hide the trainers, hide their shoes.
No. He said, the sheriff said to him, make sure there's no metal bits.
Yeah. We spent a few hours there, and he had a really, really cool place. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a bit of a tourist attraction. And the day we were there, they had a female
the ladies' college softball,
women's baseball,
softball. Don't you get them confused?
Yeah.
And so we could have stayed the night. There was like 100 women or something going there for a party. We was like,
no, we're leaving.
We need to keep moving. But
what a shame.
So we started in Canada, then we worked our way down. We went to the I-80 truck stop, the biggest truck stop in the world.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, but it's called the I-80. And that was a really cool place. They have got full-size trucks and trailers in their shop.
In the shop.
And then you go out to the parking lot and just see all of the trucks there. Some of them are just standard fleet spec trucks, but there is a lot of really, really cool trucks.
Yeah.
And that you could spend a day there. And again, it's another tourist place. It's a truck stop, but it's a tourist place. We did a massive loop. I think it's 14, 15 states or something. We did.
You got it on your phone, sure.
Yeah, phone's over there. But it was awesome. It was a trip of a lifetime. The last few days, I was like, I want to get home a little bit now. But I got a family, and how I managed to blag going away for 17 days.
17.
Yeah,
wow.
it was when I got back from there. When I got back from the trip, I was meant to have 3 or 4 days at home, and then I was going to Spain on a stag weekend. Yeah, and it was all booked. My hotel was booked. My flights was booked. And my wife, she's very understanding. She's really nice. She's really good.
She's gotta be.
And I got back, and I was like two days at home, and then I was off. And I got home. She's like, we need to have a chat about Spain. I was like, what? She went, I don't mind you going away. I have no issues with it, but you've been away an awful lot lately, and I think you're taking the piss. And I was like, okay. She's
Fair
like,
comment.
Yeah. She's like, if you have to go, but I would prefer it if you didn't go. And what she meant by that was,
you are
not going. And I was like, oh shit. So I had to ring the lads whose stag weekend. I was like, I can't go. And I said, my missus has told me it's not a good idea for me. I was like, so I missed out on that. But in last year, I did some great trips. Sweden. I went to America twice last year. So when I got back from our trip, I only had a month at home, and then I was back to Florida for 3 weeks with my family, which was.
At least you took them this time.
I did take them. And the problem with when I was running whites, I really had like 1 week off a year, and it was a trip to Spain or something like that, where the time difference couldn't be too much. I needed to be available on the phone because they'd be ringing me all the time, and I did that year after year, just one short holiday. So I sort of kicked the ass out of it a little bit this year, and certainly made up for it.
Yeah,
yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah. There's got to be a reason why you've done what you've done now.
Yeah.
Well, it all came about one of my ex-bosses emigrated out there.
Yep.
He rang me up one day and said, I'm looking for a couple of drivers to come and work out for a year. Can you sort of put some on Facebook and see? So that's what we did. And we sent some out to him. And as a thank you, he said, come on out. And initially we were going to do a road trip with a truck.
Yeah, we were going to drive.
We were going to drive.
But because he's so old, they wouldn't give him a commercial driver's license. Yeah, I was okay.
Is that true, Brian?
It actually is.
It's actually true.
Yeah,
I can't get a work permit.
I was going to do it and just leave him there. That was my plan. But the trucks in Canada are prehistoric.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are 30 odd years old. They're on their 4th engine and 5th gearbox, and so they just repair things.
Right. Okay. The thing in Canada, if you've got a new truck, you have to be on e-log like our Digitacos.
Yeah.
If it's an old truck, you can still run on logbook.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just find it easier to do that.
Yeah.
So they've got literally brand new trucks, but because it's still the old chassis.
That's it.
But they just repair everything. They just take it off the road for however long they need to do whatever work.
But like the size of the operation, like Dave's workshop up in Deloraine, it's 180 foot long.
Wow.
Yeah, heated floors. Yeah, it's pretty.
Because minus 35, minus 40.
Yeah, of course. Sorry,
what is the ironic thing? He's a farmer as well, so he has got the latest brand new tractors and all of his farm machinery, but all of his trucks are just ancient.
Yeah.
They're so old, and when I sat in one of them, because I was thinking, I can drive trucks, left-hand drive, right-hand drive. I've been all over Europe. When I sat in one of them, I was thinking, there is no way I would have a clue where to even fucking start with this. Really, buttons and dials, and
the dashboard is like an aircraft.
And the windscreen is like the size of the TV. It's a tiny windscreen, little windscreen wipers. And I was like, no, it's not. I was quite grateful that we didn't actually do it. I'll be honest.
The thing of that though is, they can run legally like 65, 70 mile an hour with these.
Yeah.
With 2 trailers on.
Yeah. Two 40-foot trailers on. It is,
the thing is, when you're going in straight lines for hundreds of miles, hopefully, there's no...
Canada for me was a bit boring, but America I just thought was amazing. I loved everything. America for me, everything is bigger, everything is better, and everything just seems to make sense.
Yeah.
I think we were very lucky because everywhere we went, we never had any sort of feeling of being uncomfortable anyway.
No. It was
even in the bars, any bars that we went into. You know yourself. You go into a pub or something.
We had at least 2 or 3 pints every day, and then the 2 nights that we went into Nashville and the few casinos we went to. We made the most of it.
The first night in Nashville, $196.
That was just on bottles of Corona. That wasn't even that expensive, but it was great. It's just a great atmosphere. That's really cool place.
Do you find as well? Because when I was over there a few years ago, I sort of looked at it as like, you go into a shop, they want a tip. You go to Starbucks, drive through, they want a tip.
Yeah. But we're not used to the tipping culture.
Agreed. And now how I've thought when I've been back here for a few years and whatever, and you've been back there again, I've thought, you know what? Is that why the service is better out there? And is that why you do get a more welcoming feeling? Because there's a need to look after you.
Yeah, they are a little bit over the top in some places.
Yeah.
How you are doing,
but how crap the service is here now for anything.
I find the tipping culture really weird. I feel that if you feel you get a good service, then you should give a tip. But like you go to somewhere and order a takeaway coffee, and they want a tip for
we were getting some surfboards, some rubbish bodyboards, just a bit of fun while we were in Florida. And there's you can leave an 18% tip, 20% tip, or a 25% tip. Oh, right. Okay. I'm in the shop. Like, what's going on? Yeah. It's bizarre.
Yeah. For Europeans, that is quite hard to get your head around that. And for me, it feels like they're not paying their staff enough. So their customers have to subsidize their wages.
Yeah, obviously.
And there's huge debates on it all the time. And even a lot of Americans feel that it's not necessary. And the 25%, a lot of places now, that's what they're expecting. Wow.
Yeah.
25%.
Yeah. So when you drive that much over, because I loved driving over there.
It is amazing.
It is amazing. the roads are way better, but also you do realise, are we doing it wrong over here?
Yeah,
you know, turning right on red lights, and we do it wrong.
I loved it. I've got 3 trips planned already to go back to America. One with Brian and one with my wife, going to New York, and then back to Florida with my family. And I can't wait.
You told her?
When? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I told her that.
That's all right.
But when
she'll find out soon.
So when I go to New York, my wife, she loves everything cheap and cheerful, and I'm the opposite. I want the best of what I can get. Yeah. So when we're going back to Florida next summer, I'm taking my mother-in-law and my mother-in-law's friend with us as well, and so there's 7 of us going. So when I booked it all, booked the flights, and I booked when I went last time, I booked it all on a package. And when I arrived there, I was allocated my villa, which was nice, but it wasn't what I would have chose. So this time I've done the flights and the car separate, and then I've booked the villa. We've got like an 8-bedroom, 8-bathroom, enormous villa, like 5 times better than one we had last time. It's really, really nice. Absolutely fucking blew the budget on it, but it's a really, really smart place. And when I ticked the car, my wife was like, I wanted a Chevrolet Suburban, the biggest one they've got. Is what the president drive around in. It's it's enormous. It's got 7 seats. You can put 10 suitcases, like a 5.3 litre V8, something like that. And as I was ticking it, my wife was like, if you choose the minivan, you can save $500. I was like, not having the minivan.
That's what we got. We got a Nissan Armada because there was no Tahoes, Chevy Tahoe. Yeah. So we got a Nissan Armada.
That Chevrolet Tahoe, that's the next one down to the Suburban. It's just
so they're even bigger.
Yes, it's slightly smaller than, and then the Suburban is the big one. And my wife and my mother-in-law, they're like, tick the minivan. I'm like, no minivan. I'm having the Suburban, and my wife's like, but that's $500. I don't care. I don't care. I am having this. I am not going to America. And when I was driving around in the Suburban last time, I felt really cool.
Yeah,
and like the big cars, the Lincoln Navigators, and all that sort of stuff. They are great. They're great to drive. You're the biggest vehicles on the road. The only time I felt a bit of a tool was my mother-in-law looked after the kids. I took my wife out for a meal, went to a steakhouse, and I come up to a set of traffic lights and I had to do a U-turn and go back the other way. Ground was a little bit soft and a little bit wet, a little bit damp, and all the vehicles were waiting on the red lights. And as I started to go round, I just put my foot down, expecting the back end just to spin and then go the other way. But I'd done a complete 360, and I was facing towards the cars on the red lights coming towards me. Yeah. And my wife went mad. She hates any form of showing off. Yeah. Yeah. And it sort of ruined the evening.
And she married you?
Yeah, sort of ruined the evening. I just thought, give it a little blip on the throttle, back end would spin round and then go. I'd look super cool.
Capability and ambition confused yet again.
Yeah, she was not. She wasn't expecting it. I just did it, and it wasn't my finest moment. No. Did not. But
bet you got a few.
I look like a twat. Yeah. But those V8s, even though they're really thirsty on fuel, like 16, 17 to the gallon, it only costs like £38 to fill them up.
Yeah.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you stood there for a while.
Yeah. But when we had the Mercedes, even though it wasn't what we wanted, we did 8,000 kilometers, and we worked out we spent £200 on fuel.
Wow, that's insane.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah,
you couldn't even
do
London and back on that.
Yeah. 200 quid. It's about 35 quid, 30 quid every time we filled up, and the Mercedes did like 500 odd miles. I might be out slightly, but we worked out it wasn't a lot. So you can have a powerful car which is terrible on fuel because it doesn't really matter. The fuel was, I think, about 40% of the price of what the fuel is over here.
And the great thing as well, all their roads are amazing, but none of them are tolls. Like we just did a road trip down to Rome.
No, some of them
back. They are, but and you just fly, but they're not expensive. You know, you can go. We drove to Rome and back, and must have spent £300-500 on tolls.
And with trucks is even worse.
Yeah,
like,
Western America now, there's quite a lot of toll roads there.
Yeah, well, Florida, there's a lot of toll roads. Yeah. So when I got to the airport, they asked me if I wanted a toll box.
Right.
And I was like, because I was there for 3 weeks.
Always tick that box.
Yeah, I said to the woman, I said, what will I be better off doing? She went, it'd probably work out about the same, but because you're here for a long time, you don't have to worry about anything. It was I think it was about 150 quid.
Yeah.
And she's like, everything's covered.
Yeah.
She said, you don't need to worry. You can go through any road and it doesn't matter.
That's probably why I didn't think there was that many then, because I think we had that when we last went. And And that's probably
so
why
I paid
never even noticed it.
$150 or whatever it was in it, and it was all covered, and you don't have to, because otherwise you have to come off when it says toll road, you have to come off at the booth and then pay.
Good job I added that. I've got a lot of fines. I think I missed those signs. No, I didn't see no signs. You have to come out. Oh no,
I'll just crack on.
Oh, dear, that's a very Louis thing.
I know that is a very me thing.
But I would move to America tomorrow. I'll be honest.
My dad is.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's moving.
Tomorrow?
He retires. No, he retires next year, and I mean, he's always been a big fan of America, but
where's he going to?
He's going to live in New Jersey, New York, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's the way to.
Yeah, but he's just been to Nashville, and he was like, and I think the atmosphere since Trump's obviously won the election, I think the atmosphere's been sort of lifted in the South a little bit, and
I'm there up until the 15th of January.
Yeah.
Had I have known that Trump was going to win, I would have delayed. I would have booked it the following week, so I was there for the 20th, and I would have gone down to Washington to see that. It was, it would have been great.
Yeah.
I think weight off a lot of people's shoulders there, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully the UK will follow suit.
Well,
have you seen the petition for a general election?
1.8 million.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. Yeah.
When I did it yesterday morning, it was on like 250. I thought still that's really good. Woke up this morning, I'd look 1.8. Yeah, I was amazed.
Wow.
But I'm not amazed actually because
people have had enough.
Yeah, people. For me, my opinion of it is they lied to get into power. And all these, we won't do this and we won't do that.
Pete.
Yes, I know.
There's an element of that. There is.
On my Facebook page and that, I don't really get political. I sort of, my opinion is they're all useless, and people vote for who they hate the least rather than who they like the most.
Agreed.
We'll see what's going to happen. But the way obviously I got Facebook we both got Facebooks with a lot of followers on. I'm now very cautious about what I post. But I see people sharing like really controversial stuff all the time about politics, and I just feel at any point you could have your page deleted with no explanation. So I stay away from that sort of stuff.
And then having had that a couple of years ago, when he lost his page for a few days.
They want to stop regulating what people, like you were posting, and start actually regulating some of the fake news essentially that's out there. Not to quote Donald Trump, but there's so much tosh on there.
So I never call any
wonderful word.
Yeah, tosh. I love that. Tosh.
I never call anybody names on Facebook because I get into a lot of debates and a few arguments and discussions. I never call anybody names. But a few weeks back, someone said something I didn't like, and I said, and I called it. I said, "What a sausage you are." That's what I typed out. And I call people a rocket, a sausage, a turnip. That's how I would insult people now.
Turnip.
So I put, what a stupid comment, what an absolute sausage you are. And as I hit post, it come up as a notification and said, this post looks like it's bullying or harassment. Are you sure you want to post it? And I was like, no, I don't want to post it. But so I had a potential warning because I called somebody a sausage. Absolutely outrageous.
Well, look, aren't we now the country that has the most people imprisoned for posting on social media? Is that right?
Yeah, outrageous.
Yeah. You can do anything you like, but just don't
post on social media.
But it is,
jump on a moped and nick people's purses, and
but it is making people worried about posting because they were so harsh and so aggressive with arresting people and jailing them. And a lot of these people, they couldn't afford solicitors, so they were forced into a guilty plea for a reduced sentence. And it is what Elon Musk did to Twitter is amazing. And all of the high profile people that are now leaving Twitter because they don't like the censorship and they don't like the fact people can say what they want. And they're leaving that to go to different platforms or to concentrate on other platforms. And I think that these people are the problem. You should be able to say what you want. And if you offend somebody, so what? I don't care.
But the scary thing is there's so many people out there in the US or even in the UK that are brainwashed into thinking that is right and that's how it should be.
My biggest problem with it is the people that get offended on somebody else's behalf.
That's
the one that
there's a lot of people like that.
Well, you've got to watch telly these days, haven't you? And the amount that's not shown or cancelled now because it might upset somebody.
Seen the new Jaguar advert?
That was going to be well, speaking of agendas and political, I literally just said it's like leading a horse, pulling it down and just shooting it. And that's what they've just done to a British brand.
And I've just bought Defender, so I'm part of that group now. I am a customer of theirs now.
You've done this.
Like.
You should have your Defender. You should have the Defender logo on the road. You'd have it changed into the Jaguar font.
I picked the Defender up last week, and then I went onto Twitter and saw the advert like an hour later. I'm like, oh no,
what have they done?
I was like, that's outrageous.
It's been listed on your Facebook page any day.
Yeah. But whoever is the people that are at the top of the tree with Jaguar Land Rover, how on earth they signed that off and thought that was a good idea? Because
crazy.
the Jaguar drivers, not Land Rover or Range Rover or Defender, but the Jaguar drivers,
The demographic.
but they are middle-aged white men that are probably slightly on the right a little bit. And that is just the most opposite thing that would attract them to their brand. Buying a car.
They obviously don't understand their own demographic, and it's like my missus. I mean, we're obviously young, but every time, and I've always loved the Jag brand, and if I mention it to Ellie, it's old man's car. So for them to go and release this advert trying to appear, all they've done is just put off their own demographic.
Did you see their own comments on Twitter, on X? So people were saying, what a ridiculous
Do
advert.
you make cars?
Yeah, and they're like, wait to
Elon
see
Musk.
what's coming and not copy nothing. And all they were doing was leaving, people were giving them criticism and they were just leaving like a 3 or 4 word sarcastic answer. Like, wait to see what's next. And I was like, no one gives a shit.
No. Elon Musk put, do you make cars?
Yeah.
And they put something like, come see us next year.
Yeah.
He put, do you make cars?
Ouch.
Do you remember the advert that they did for the F-Type with Tom Hiddleston and the guy who's always he always plays a villain, the bald guy. Oh, I can't remember. Fantastic advert anyway.
Can't remember now.
Oh, it was amazing. Like the helicopters in it, going over London. Oh, it was a fantastic advert. To compare that to where they are now is scary.
Shocking.
It's scary.
I saw it on the telly thinking, how's this?
Yeah. I mean, they've not been great. Even before they went electric, the last few the production lines that they've had have not been great, other than maybe the F-Type, the F-Pace.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a few of them.
The XE
Yes, the XE
was okay.
Yeah.
Except for the steering
Project
wheel.
8.
What a horrible steering wheel.
Yeah.
The thing that you look at.
Before I
totally wrong.
Before I bought my Defender, because my Defender's a commercial one, but it's got the back seats in it. It's a 110 with the back seats. It's all got the body kit. And it's really, really lovely. But before that, I had a test drive with Audi for the new Q6 e-tron. And the way I spec'd it was about 95 grand. And I spoke to the guy. I ended up cancelling the test drive. I spoke to the guy and he's like, you don't want to buy it, you want to lease it. And I was like, I don't like leasing. At White's Transport, we bought everything, never leased anything. I was like, the idea of leasing doesn't really sit well with me. He's like, you don't want to buy it. I was like, why? He said, because after 3 years, it'll be worthless. That's a 95 grand car or something like that. The way I spec'd it out, I think it was the SQ6 e-tron. And I was like, it's a £94,000 car, so thereabouts. And he's like, yeah, but when it's 3 years old and you've done 30,000 miles, it'll be worthless. I was like, okay, don't worry about it. So I cancelled the test drive.
Yeah, that's every electric car is that.
Yeah,
I did see something the other day, and they dropped about 40 grand.
Well, the Taycan's the worst
Yeah.
example of
However,
it.
I come up against one of them a few weeks ago in my RS6. That thing was rapid.
And they look great.
Yeah, I come off of a roundabout to get onto the M4, and I could see that he was about to put his foot down. So it was literally just from the roundabout on the slip road to join the motorway, and my RS6 couldn't touch it. He was gone. He, honestly, I swear to God, he caught me off guard a little bit, and I wasn't in RS mode. I'll admit it, but that thing was absolutely outrageous.
But he's probably going to go and put his dinner in a microwave. Do you know what I mean?
It was. My car made enough noise for both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, Jesus.
Well, look
Christ.
at these. I sent Aaron and Ben a video. I can't remember if it was last night or the night before, of just a V12 Vantage. Probably, probably an M2. Your M2 is probably a bit quicker than it now, but the noise on those things is just incredible.
Outrageous.
Yeah, incredible.
It is. I borrowed a Porsche 911 992 Turbo S a couple of months back. So my daughter, it was her prom back in June. And she said, I might have said this last time, I can't remember when I was here, but she said, Dad, you need to get me a sports car for my prom. I looked out the window. There you go. She said, no, Dad, a real sports car. Wounded.
Not the family
wagon.
Wounded.
So a mate,
that's not a sports car.
A mate of mine had a 911, and I can tell this story now because he sold it now. And so
I don't think you could last time.
So this is new. Yeah, so this is new. Yeah, so I did a trip to I did a trip to Sweden, I think, or south of France for a friend of mine. I can't remember which way around it was, but he was in Hastings. So I got back from Hastings. I started work at like silly o'clock in the morning. By the time I'd got back to Hastings, I got my car. I'd done like a 15-hour day, come over on the ferry, cleared customs, got back. I was knackered. I then drove from Hastings to Dover just to see my mate. I had a coffee, chat with him for an hour. And then we swapped cars, and his car had like half a tank of fuel to drive from Dover back to Weston. And as I was like 10 miles from my house, the range on the car said it had 39 miles left. And this is now 10 o'clock at night, and I've been up for like 22 hours, 23 hours. I was so tired. I was like, I can't be bothered to stop for fuel. I've got enough just to get home. I was a mile from the junction of where my motorway exit is in Weston, and I ran out of fuel. In like a £185,000 Porsche 911. And I was like, wow. And then I rang my wife up, and I was like, this is not going to go down well. It's like 10:30 at night. I rang my wife up, and I was like, right, listen to me. Get in the car, go to the garage, buy a petrol can, fill it up with petrol, and bring it to me as soon as possible. I run out of fuel, and she's like, "You fucking idiot!" I was like, "Yeah, I know, but just she's like, but what about the kids?" My oldest daughter's 16. So don't worry about the Lexi's there. That's fine. Just do it now, Leanne. I'm in a really dangerous position on the motorway. Yeah. Do it now. And by the time she got to me, it took about 45 minutes, and I got home. I was just to save myself 5 minutes. I could have pulled into any services, just to save myself 5 minutes because I was knackered. I ended up sitting on the side of the motorway in a Porsche.
But you made that decision because you're tired.
Yeah.
It's usual thought process.
I was trying to make an excuse for you.
And
Brian wasn't having it.
And when I was planning trucks, for me, cardinal sin for a driver to make is to run out of fuel.
Yeah.
It is the cardinal sin to run out of diesel. But it's not much of a defense, but the car did say it had 39 miles. And the guy I bought it from, he'll probably see this, but I didn't tell him. I wonder if he's got any telematics, but as soon as I put the fuel in it fired up straight away, and I was home.
They're good now for that though, aren't they?
Yeah, it was. But I ended up having the car for about 5 days. Took my daughter to prom. She had the car was like turquoisey blue, and she had the dress the same colour as well. It looked really good. And then I took my brother's boy to the prom the following night, and the guy I borrowed the car off, he said, "Oh, make sure you do the launch control. It's like 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds." I was like, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm really sure." I said, "I've not even done launch control on my RS6 once." And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "This is how you do it. Show me how to do it." I said, "How often do you do it?" He said, "Every time I'm at a set of traffic lights." So I did it. I dropped the kid, because they got 2 little seats in the back. So I dropped my brother's boy off to the prom, and me and my brother were going to go out and have a steak. And I was at a set of traffic lights. I was like, right, race mode, foot down, flat out. And that was the most unreal acceleration ever. And as I had the car, I fell in love with it. My little boy, who's only 9, he absolutely loved it. Told all his mates, my dad drives a Porsche, and the guy's like, "I'm selling it if you want to buy it." And he offered it to me for such a good price. I could have bought it for at least 15 grand less than list price. And he's like, "But I need like a fairly quick sale on it." And I decided not to, but I could have turned a profit on it. I could have kept it for a couple of months, enjoyed it, and turned maybe a 10 grand profit on it, but I decided against it. But I absolutely, the center cap on the center nut on the wheels, it's like the one nut, like the racing wheels. It was unbelievable. Put it into race mode, the spoiler goes up, the suspension all changes.
One of my dream cars, that or GT3.
It was an incredible car. I absolutely fell in love with it. And when I got back into my Audi, I was like,
first world problems, isn't
it? This old tank.
But at least you can go around, like every time I see an RS6, I explain to Ellie that they were supercar killers. They're still cool.
And it is. Cool. It's a Lamborghini killer. It is. But you can't drive it fast. You put your foot down, and within seconds you've got to be on the brakes again.
Of course you do.
You can't drive it anywhere fast. And I'm not really a fast driver anymore. Just little bursts of speed. Now and again. That's it.
Well, I've got.
He had a go in it.
Pete White proclaiming to be
what's the RS6? Just shy of 600?
605.
605.
Yeah.
So I've got 324, and you always say 300 is just enough for the road because it's fun.
Yeah.
But you get up to speed, you get up to the speed limit, more importantly. And, you know, and you're done. There was a nice little ticket.
Which we never go over.
No, never. Have you seen, remember all the Top Gear things? 70.
It was the advert for the Scirocco when it first came out. They had to all do an advert, didn't they? Their own advert. It was this Scirocco going flat out for about a mile. It was just so 70 mile an hour on the speedo.
Obviously, I can't compete with these type of cars.
He's had a go in the RS.
Oh yes, no, I saw that you posted it, didn't you? I saw that.
Come on, go beef it down. And it was. Yeah, it is a great car. It's a great car.
Phenomenal car.
But I get bored. I get bored really fast. I get bored. So I'm now at the point where I've had it almost a year now. I'm like a bit bored of it now. I think I want to get something else. And I could sell the RS and I could buy a Golf car. With what I've got in equity in the car, so I put a fair bit down when I bought it, but the payments are expensive, more than my mortgage anyway. So I was thinking to sell the RS, and I love hot hatches anyway. Yeah. So now I've got the Defender for the wife, big family car. I don't really need the RS anymore. So I know it will be dropping down certainly a lot of horsepower, but a friend of mine's got a brand new Type R. Yeah. It's on a 74 plate, and it is beautiful. Really nice.
I've had hot hatches since, sort of since I learned to drive, and always on that platform. Yeah. And
every VAG platform. You've had every VAG platform.
I've had the S3, the Golf, I've had the Golf GTI, not the R, but the same thing, and the Cupra. And the reason I had 3 is because it's such a good car.
Yeah,
it just does everything.
I do. I wouldn't want to, if I get rid of that Audi, if I get rid of the RS6, I don't think I'll ever have an Audi again, because nothing will compare to that. But what is terrible about my car is my office is a mile and a half from where I live. It's the 4-litre V8 car just to drive from my house to the office and back. It's
not great.
What's that Cupra? F1 or something? Or
Cupra Formentor?
Formula 1 was 3000. I saw one that was just badged up and it just looked.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not sure.
Did you have your glasses on? Because nobody's heard of that.
No.
Yeah. Cupra are now their own brand. It used to be Seat. Cupra used to be the performance model, but that was a weird thing in itself. It's Cupra is the brand now, which is.
And then the Cupra, you could get 1.4 TSI Cupras, and that for me is like, you've killed it. You've killed it. You've killed the brand. It's a bit like sticking the M badge. I mean, I have a M light, so I don't slag my own car.
I've got my brother's BMW now, and that is a 4 Series with an M badge on it. It's a
440.
I don't know what it is, to be honest. I'm not a fan of BMWs. Never really got on very well with them at all.
We love them. We've all got BMs.
Us 3 in this room up until probably
2-3 years
18 months ago, we were exactly the same.
Yeah,
didn't like them. The interior's dated. Blah, blah, blah. I think I got a Mini first. You got a Mini, loved it. I then got an X340i. I know you
M235i. Yeah.
And I'm in my M240, and you know what? I genuinely wouldn't have anything else now.
No. The build quality on an entry level BM that I've got is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's the way it drives. It's like I've come out of obviously this same platform for a few years now. Driving this, unbelievable.
Do you know what I hate most about BMW?
Go on.
You close the door softly, and it's like you're slamming. It's like someone is slamming it so hard.
Well, I keep having to go at Ellie. Right, it's a BMW then, because I keep going to Ellie. Ellie, like, are you trying to? Because they're frameless doors. I'm like, are you trying to shatter the glass?
And I've had, because my Audi was having an alternator. I've had my brother's car for a few days, and every time my kids get in and out, literally, and I'm like, fuck, like, don't slam the door, just close it gently. But you just close it, and it's like a really hard slam, like you're gonna shatter the glass. That is what. That's what I say.
Obviously, their doors are too heavy, aren't they?
True. Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
I had an M5.
Did you?
And a German import 535i Sport.
Like I said, did we get the 35i? Yeah, we did, didn't we?
That was 319 brake horse. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
They were nice cars.
That's one with the V10.
The V10 M5. Yeah. So what year was the M5 that you had then?
The M5 was a B-Reg.
1934.
You'd have to start it with.
I've just seen one of them at Auto World in Munich.
With the crank handle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, so that now is worth some money.
Yeah.
The old
B155 SHP.
Yeah. Still a solid car. Wow.
It's a shame now. It's like they'd work car we got outside. It's a great car, and then you open the bonnet and you want to laugh because the engine's literally probably about the same size as this.
Yeah. You can fit all your luggage around.
The biggest car I had, I used to have a 7.2 litre Jansen.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
that was the car.
Yeah. Let's go back to big engines. Come on.
Yeah. Well, it was,
With the fuel prices in America.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we want.
That's it. That's a bit of a hybrid between the two.
Yeah, because when you see the big, powerful American cars over here, I'm thinking, oh my God, the fuel must be killing.
Insane.
Me.
Yeah.
It is.
But then again, a lot of them will be working on the American air bases and military bases, in which case they fuel up.
Yeah.
On base, and they pay
American
US prices.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
When we went to Deadwood in America, and I saw a Harley Davidson edition F-150 pickup truck. Oh my God, it's the coolest pickup truck. It was a complete standard. I don't like changing things. How my car, how it comes out the factory is how it will
OEM.
Always stay. And this Harley F-150 was so cool. I was like, I love that. I do like my pickup trucks.
Yeah.
However, I've got no reason to drive one anywhere off road. I've got nothing to put in the back, but I just like the thought of a pickup truck. Yeah, they do look cool.
Yeah.
You want a Julie?
A what?
Julie. The twin wheel ones with the big wide arches.
Yeah.
Soon we're going to see you with one of those 8-wheel G-Wagon. You know what they did?
6x6.
6x6. That's it. So
they're about $400,000, I think.
Yeah.
Serious weapon. That.
Yeah.
That's a few trucks.
What?
That's a few trucks.
Yeah.
Or get one of them Maybachs, that bounce.
Oh, Maybach, yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. Oh,
God. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Or I like the I keep looking at them there. I can't afford one, but Alpine X7. Oh, they're cool.
Alpina
X7.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't seen that.
They're cool.
It's basically BMW.
Massive. Well, I suppose perfect market for it would be the US.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a European American sized vehicle, isn't it? Really.
Don't like the grills though.
But what I liked about America is all the car parking spaces, they're all suited for enormous vehicles.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yes, you're right. Yeah. This is over here. I did it the weekend. I went out and parked in the car park. I parked as far over as I could, literally against the curb. And still, I'll bet you if a car park next to it, you'd still have a door.
Whenever I go to a car park, I tend to go to the furthest space away and then walk however far I need to. And I get back and some dickhead is parked right next to me.
I know.
So, but that's how I do car parks.
My Mrs. Mum, bless her, she makes me laugh. She will only park next to two cars. She needs the reference points. And there's a lot of people out there that the reason why they're parking next to you is because they couldn't park in an empty bay. They need the reference points of the cars there. How shocking is that?
That is. But I went into a car park the other day with the new Defender, and there was a massive queue of traffic and nothing was moving. And there was a curb about that high. And I could have gone over the curb and gone into a space straight away. And I thought about it. And my daughter, she is only 14. She's like, Dad, don't you dare. So she knew what I was going to do. I was like, but this is a 4-wheel drive. That's what they're for. She went, don't you dare, Dad. So you wait till the traffic goes. Okay. And I did. I waited till, but it's just a high curb, over the curb, down the other side. I'd have been straight in the space.
Imagine if it had got stuck.
Yeah.
What
happened there? Well,
You're like me. You're very impulsive.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God. I want to do that. I'm doing it.
I make on the
spot. He's like a kid that's had too many E numbers. Honest to God, he really is. The times he's like a Labrador puppy. You want to get a newspaper and smack him on the nose. Pete, heel.
I make decisions.
Calm down.
I make decisions instinctively and very quickly.
And normally wrong.
No, not sometimes. Not. But when at White's Transport, I used to ring my dad up with serious problems, and my dad was like, "Okay, I'll have a cup of tea and I'll call you back." I was like, "Well, no, now. What do I do now? I need to know now." And in the end, I was the one making the decisions, and I can now understand like that having a cup of tea basically is a reference for saying I'll think about it for 20 minutes and then we'll work out.
Let me just think through it.
Look at the options. What we're going to do.
Yeah. Wait, he's off.
I had a driver once that locked himself out of the truck, and I told him to break the window, and it was a double pane glass on a Scania V8, and I think the glass was like 900 quid, and it took weeks to get it. And that was like, my dad was like, "Yeah, you really should have thought about that a little bit more." Yeah, okay. And the driver said to me, "Are you sure you want me to break it?" "Yeah, break the glass, passenger glass, break it, get back in the truck." I was under pressure at the time to.
No, you just being yourself.
Yeah.
So I get it. Take your time. but make the right decision. But I am really, really impulsive.
Yeah.
And I'd like, right, I'm getting an RS6, I'm getting it today.
At least you're not Jaguar C-suite level impulsive, because whatever impulse they just went for.
I think the managing director, the managing director of Jaguar has come online now to say
defend it, to say it's hate and it's abuse. What, we can't have an opinion on a brand and their decisions now? Apparently that's abuse. Oh,
my definition of argument with someone is you're not allowed to swear. You're not allowed to raise your voice. You're not allowed to get aggressive.
Well, you're debating.
Yeah. And if you don't do any of those things, you can say whatever you want. But the second you could be having a disagreement with someone, the second you use one swear word, oh, you're verbally abusing me. Yeah. I've had that before with goods in managers and that. And I say the word fuck or for fuck's sake or something like that. And they say, well, you just verbally abused me. This conversation is over. And that is a conversation killer. But if you just don't shout, don't swear and don't use any insulting language or any words that call anybody names, you just leave those three things out of it. You can say whatever you want in an argument.
That's a good way to look at it, actually.
Yeah. And you were to hold your own argument rather than
And also when I argue with people, disagreements with drivers, when things go wrong, or customers, what I do is I let them say everything that they need to say and I don't interrupt them. So because when most people argue, it's two people interrupting each other all the time because you're disagreeing what the other person says, and nobody really gets what they're trying to say out. So whenever I'm disagreeing with anyone, I will let them finish everything they've got to say. Okay. And then once I realise they finished, then I'll start saying, and the first time they interrupt me, I was like, whoa, stop. I listened to everything you said. So now I'm going to speak and do not interrupt me until I finished. And that works. People have their own ways of doing it, but that works for me.
Yeah. Well, the one thing we've had a lot since the podcast with you is just how much you sort of like fight your own for your own team. For your own, you know.
In fact, someone come to us at the show last week at the NEC and said exactly that.
Absolutely.
The respect for Pete for literally I'm not saying the only boss out there, but you know, one of the very few that actually sticks up.
A lot of bosses will apologise first.
The big difference with Pete is he will say it out loud. A lot of bosses would do what he does,
but hide behind the.
But that was only because I worked for my dad.
So he thought he couldn't get sacked.
It's not really that. My dad had the same opinion of me. But
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I told the story last time on the podcast. We had a driver that strangled a goods in manager and lifted him off the floor, and I got a lot of grief from people saying bullshit, didn't happen. On my kid's life, how I described it was exactly how it happened, and the driver will collaborate it. And when I told my dad was disappointed that the driver didn't whack him because he did. He deserved a slap. He was, but now that I guarantee this comment on the podcast now, there will be people that were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that, and you're wrong." And people on the left side, they will. You put that down as a clip, one of the clips you did about me telling that story. And even though there was a lot of people that said fair play, that's a boss that I'd like to work for, there was more people that saying the driver should be charged with assault and I shouldn't be allowed to employ people. And I got a lot of criticism from it.
But the thing is, you're not the driver. You weren't the driver.
He approved it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
But the only thing you can do in that scenario is back up what your employer, and unfortunately at that time he was sort of defending the right of your company in a way, wasn't he? So
it's different times. 20 years ago that would happen.
It happens. Get on with it.
Now everybody is so scared of offending somebody and being seen in a bad light.
And everybody wants to tell tales. Everyone wants to tell tales. Everybody wants to get people in trouble. Everybody wants to get people to sack from their job.
I must admit, this morning you were very good. You didn't jump out and video that truck that was struggling with that.
When we were coming through one of the villages earlier, it was just off the A5. There was a turning right, come up towards Twycross Zoo.
I know.
And there was a guy that turned right, and then he was trying to reverse into a blindside. And I thought I was blocking the roundabout because he sort of stopped as I was 3/4 way around the roundabout, and then everything was blocked and the guy was struggling with the reverse. It was a naughty reverse. It was a really difficult one. He had a flatbed trailer on with a forklift on the back, but he is, I was almost at the point where we was going to get up and out, but then he gave up. But you could see the guy's movement started getting erratic. Because rather than a blindside reverse for a lot of people is really difficult, but rather than doing it smoothly and forward shunting, he started to do jerky movements, and you could see that all the traffic was building up.
The problem was there was a pub on the right hand side,
And he wanted to go for a drink.
Yeah.
I was
like, what is it?
you'd get the arse end of the trailer
Yeah.
in position, but you couldn't get the lock off quick
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, it was. He was really struggling,
And it was-
but in the end, he just pulled forward and they started to unload the forklift on the road. But people started to get impatient. I sort of moved off. I was blocking a bit of the roundabout, so I sort of moved to the side of the car that was in front of me that could have moved forward a bit, and then another bit, and then an ambulance was trying to get through, and it was all.
Yeah.
And it was as a driver, they're not very pleasant positions to be in. He had a guy that was sort of behind him watching him that was no use at all. You could tell that driver could not see that guy in his mirrors. So it was like absolute waste of time. But yeah, it
Stand
was
behind the trailer.
Yeah,
Well, no, because he really was. It was virtually jackknifed round.
Yeah.
but the good thing now with Google Maps, you can suss out where you're going,
Yeah.
so you can look if there's a naughty
Satellite.
entrance. Like I would have maybe, can you go a couple of miles to a roundabout, turn around, so you're on your good side to back in on your good side, rather than do a blindside reverse off of a busy junction on the A5 and cause carnage.
Yeah.
It was, but it was the north.
Yeah, we probably sat there for about 5 minutes, and then he gave
the
up.
gateway was horrible.
Yeah,
It really was.
I
It
know
was
where
just-
you're on about there.
Yeah.
And it is. I can
And
imagine that's
he was
terrible.
trying to back for a fairly narrow gateway, which if it was a reverse on your good side with a flat trailer where you got a lot more visibility, it'd have been fine. But blindside reverse is
Well,
is a
the
fairly
difference
narrow
was
reverse.
if he'd come in on his good side, he'd have had the car park of the pub that he could have put the unit on as he come round.
Yeah. So you've got to
And
use
that would have made so much. But yeah,
If Brian would have reversed in, he would have done it in one. He would have took both posts out. But he
thought
would have.
that-
He would have been in there.
Come on.
He would have been in there in one go.
solves the problem.
It does.
That's how we do it. That solves the problem.
We do a collection in Belgium, regular collection in Belgium,
God.
and I have to tell the story. Brian.
No, you don't.
I do. I have to tell the story, and it's I've documented it a few times when I've been there myself. They're awkward bays to get on. Left-hand drive or right-hand drive on your good side or your blind side. Really awkward bays.
There's very little distance from the bay in front of you. So
Right.
you
Yeah,
can't get,
and
you
they
can't get anywhere near
put
straight
lots and lots of
reversing.
pallets in front of the bays for people that swap pallets and various bits and pieces. And Brian was reversing back on his bad side, and he was following the lines, but he didn't realise they weren't the lines for the bay; they were the lines to walk to the office. And he backed into the office and knocked the office off the stilts with all the people that were inside, like a port cabin office.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
We were the laughing stock for ages. We had to buy them a new port cabin for their office.
no, you
For our insurance fucking did.
No, you
Yes, we
didn't.
did. And I went there a couple of months later, and I went into the office, and I'd been there before. They knew I was, and the guy was like, "You need us to watch you back?" I was like, "No, I'm fine." He's like, "This building, do not hit." I was like, "Okay, I promise I won't hit the building." But yeah,
I thought when you went round, they said you are not going on bay 5.
yeah. Put it on bay 7, no bay 5, no bay 5. Okay. And I was driving a left-hand drive at the time, which is easier for that place. I was like, I'm a left-hand driver, so I don't care. Bay 7, you stay away from our
From my
office.
office.
Yeah, but yeah,
Brilliant.
just sort of push the office about 3 foot.
didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, you
Yes, it did.
They put a crease in the panel.
Oh yeah,
That's all it did.
yeah. It's easy for the driver to say that.
Yeah.
Turning the clock right back then. So is that obviously how you two
No,
met
so
then?
Brian started working for us in 2018. So
Right.
we've always been the fridges. We had a year of dabbling with tankers. And Brian come on, obviously getting into his later stages of his driving career. Tankers is a fairly easy job. Most tanker work is that places don't open until 8 o'clock in the morning, and everyone goes home at 4
Basically, the
o'clock.
conversation was looking for a job, but I really don't want to do nights anymore. I
Yeah.
just don't want to do them.
Yeah.
And he said, well, we got an opportunity with some tanks, and Paul was going on holiday, the driver that had the truck, for 6 weeks out in Thailand. So he said, can we do the 6 weeks on the tanks, and then we'll go from there. And that's where it sort of started. The tanks, it was an eye-opener.
Yeah,
he's going to tell another story in a minute. I just know he
so
is.
we were so with the tanks, we were taking a product called tallow, which is basically hot animal fat, which is just melted down into an oil.
Nice.
It's a vile product, and you can get tallow from chickens, from beef, and so we were doing a lot of beef tallow, which goes into cosmetics, makes the
vegans. I love that.
Just think.
It goes
chicken fat.
Yeah, it goes into sweets, and it also the money, the notes. There's tallow in that, and it's they use it they burn it at power plants, and it's a really hot.
Money. What's that?
Tallow.
What's money?
Yes,
Yeah, actually, cards.
Yes.
But the reason our notes now feels more plastic than paper is because of the tallow.
Right.
So we did it we tried it for about a year. We didn't have the best equipment to do it. You need all the compressors on the trucks with we didn't want to spend a fortune to start with because we didn't know if it was going to work. Yeah. But by not spending a fortune, by having shit equipment,
it cost a fortune.
Yeah, it caused us. We weren't very good at it. And listen, I'll hold my hands up. I hated it. I took a guy on to do the planning of the work for me because I couldn't stand it. And we at one point we had about 5 trucks, maybe 8 trailers on it. So we sort of hit it fairly hard. But it was a horrible, dirty product. And we had, when we realized, we were like, this isn't for us. We probably did it for about 8 months. We had a tank in the yard that was full of this tallow, and that was a tank that was going back off of hire. And then we had another tank that which we bought, which we owned, which was empty. So we was like, right, okay, park both of them next to each other. We'll connect the pipe, and then we will blow the load in from one tank into another with a high pressure air compressor. So it was. We had another driver who's also called Brian. That he was our foreman when it comes to our tanks. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. Just leave it with me.
Watch this.
And I was I was really green.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I was really green with this
And
sort of work.
obviously, I knew nothing about it.
He was fairly new to it, so. He had literally just had a shower and he'd just got changed. He had jeans and a white t-shirt on. The reason I was sat in the car for 5 minutes before I come in, I was trying to find the photos, but I couldn't find them. I will get them. I'll send you them so you can see them. So Brian was like, right, other Brian, I know what to do. Leave it to me. He connected all the pipes up, started the compressor. Brian's on the top of the empty tank with the hatches open. So this tank was, I can't remember, but for argument's sake, 27,000 litres, and this tank was 27,000 litres. So the load would fit.
For likes,
the load would fit. So we're blowing it across, and I'm up on top. I'm like, never seen it before, so quite interested watching how fast it's coming in. But so Brian's on top, and he's waiting to hit the limit so it doesn't overflow, which it shouldn't do anyway, but we're just being cautious. So the moment that the last bit of liquid hot oil, which is like 80 degrees, went through the pipe, there was nothing left apart from high pressure air. So the high pressure air then forced into the loaded tank, which come up out the top like a volcano, while he's on top without being, and this stuff is boiling hot. He's on top.
Boiling hot.
It was pretty fucking warm. I heard you scream. So this come out the top, and he had nowhere to go. It was like 2 geysers coming out the top, and then it just come down on him. But the amount that come out was horrendous. The yard we had was enormous. We could have done it anywhere, and if it made a mess, it wouldn't matter. But this was right outside our office, next to where all our cars were parked. And this tallow, as soon as it cools down, it goes like lard. Plus our yard was like a dusty bowl, and it was cooled down, mixed with dust. It turned into this horrible gloopy stuff. But when it blew up in the air, it then covered all the drivers' cars with this hot oil, and then there was just mess on the floor everywhere. Which it's like the only way to describe the smell is like KFC gravy. But much horrible. And he then come down. And
before I come down, I just looked down at him. And I said, don't you fucking lie.
I straight away got my phone out taking pictures. It was, but yeah, that was, and he hadn't been doing it very long. I was pretty green to it, but he was covered in hot animal fat from head to toe. ruined all his clothes. And out of all of my time at White's Transport, the 20 years, it's probably my funniest memory.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was worth it. But
It was worth it for you.
my dad was on holiday at the time.
Yeah.
And I rang him up and I told him what happened. He's like, send me pictures. Oh no. So we sent him pictures of all this fat all over the floor, which is just, and it was like gallons of it as well, all over the driver's cars. We had to wash.
Oh, no.
Now he asks for everything extra crispy.
Yeah, it was horror. It was a moment. But if it had been right the other side of the yard, it wouldn't have made so much difference. But covering all the cars with it.
But then again, it goes on from there, because normal people would get somebody in to sort this out. It's a disaster.
Give me the jet wash.
No.
We scraped that with
but a forklift with pallets on the forks.
Brilliant.
Scraping
with
like
the forks down like that and just scraping it along the floor. And all we did was made it worse. And for weeks afterwards,
it was still there.
Yeah. We had all the wildlife coming in, licking it all up. Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, disgusting.
Did it damage the cars?
Not really. It just sort of, it didn't cover them, but it just sort of splattered them a little bit. But
Well, I suppose the good thing is, even though it's hot, like, there's got to be an element within paint and with also on the cars of on sun hitting them all day. It's got to be able to withstand a certain amount of heat.
But it's a vile product.
Yeah.
It's really, really horrible. And so there's different types of it. There is, I'm not an expert. People may correct me. I might be wrong, but there's like some tallow is edible, so it's food grade, and other tallow is for cosmetics and for making money. And then you've got the category 1, which is the really naughty stuff, which they burn it in power plants.
Right.
And the category 1, which what we were doing as well, is like chickens. So they get like the bones and all of the horrible stuff from a chicken, and they mash it into a paste and then heat it up. And it is like we're carrying tankers with like 27,000 or however many thousand.
Not what you'd want
for
for dinner then.
It's horrible. And we were doing and this, when you put it in, the tanks are insulated so it stays warm, but you have to deliver it fairly quickly, because as soon as it cools down, it goes hard, or it will cool down a little bit. So like the outside where the barrel is, that bit will go hard, and then it's liquid in the middle, and then you have to put hot water around the tank. Steam into the tank to then melt it again. And we had one. It was around Christmas time in Belgium. We couldn't unload it. It went hard. We had problems. We must have been there for a week trying to get this load off. It was so stressful. It's such a disaster. I hated every fucking minute of it. But if you don't try new things, then you don't know. But it's probably the worst thing we ever did at White's Transport.
Dear.
Dabbing our hand into tankers. Cost us. We probably threw 150, 200 grand at it.
Wow. Like you say, could have gone the other way. I just wish we never even Hindsight's
started.
a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. What happened?
But so then Brian then went back onto the fridges.
Yeah.
He worked. He had I think you had a white Volvo to start with, didn't you?
I thought I dab. When was a white dab?
Well, in 2019 we bought 4 new Volvos, blue ones, really nice ones, and Brian had one of them from brand new. And literally
went to the Avonmouth to the dealers to pick it up with Ray.
They were good spec, lovely colour, good spec.
The colour,
and literally 2 days after we'd put them on the road, we had horrendous weather. Within the first week, we had terrible weather. And where our yard was in Membry is 200 metres above sea level. So the snow there is much worse. And he was trying to get back to the yard. And he got close, probably within about half a kilometre from the yard, and then
I got onto the runway.
Yeah, and then stopped. But we couldn't. It was we had the same driver that blew the air across. Another lad called Brian. He was on the way back to the yard. It was like on a Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and I said, whatever you do, don't come into the yard. You're going to get stuck. There's like a runway going up to our yard. Just stop on the runway and walk up. Yeah. Do not come into the yard. And then like an hour later, he's driving into the yard like he's a hero, gets stuck in the gateway. My car's in the yard. I now can't get my car out. I was like, shit. So there was about 5 or 6 of us there. There was vehicles stranded everywhere. I was like, So I ended up booking for me and the drivers to go down to the hotel at the services, which is about a mile walk. So we walked down there, went into the services. We went and got like 6 cans of lager each. And I booked, I think it was 6 of us, booked like 3 twin rooms. And then we all just sat in a room and got pissed till about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Brilliant.
It was a really good night in the end of it.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, I arranged for a company nearby they come up with one of them bobcat things and dragged everything where it needed to be and cleared the yard. But the funny thing was that the bobcat pulled the truck into the yard, got it parked up, and then about half an hour later, one of our drivers who was driving a twin tag axle Scania, he drove into the yard in the worst conditions, spun it around and reversed it into a parking space because he had a heavy load on, plenty of weight on the pin with a twin tag. And that, for me, I'm not a fan of tag axle trucks at all. They didn't suit what we did, but that moment I saw why so many hauliers, especially the ones that are in difficult conditions, forestry, quarries, that sort of stuff, why they think the tag axle is the best truck. And it was. And I said to the driver, I can't believe you just did that. He said, he said, these tags are brilliant, they'll go anywhere. Good. He had good tires, he had heavy weight on the pin into the yard. And I think he even filled up with diesel onto the fuel pump, filled up the trailer with red diesel, spun it around and reversed into the parking space where nobody could move anything.
No. Were a lot of yours 4x2s then because of the work?
No, they used to. So we had loads of 4x2s. Our limited edition ones were mainly 4x2s. But because we had so many issues with axle weight, so we would go to Italy with a load of hanging meat that would be fine with the weight, not very heavy, and then we would load back wine or fruit or something that was really heavy. So the truck's on his way down there. You don't really know what you're picking up. You sort of find the load when he's on the way. It might take him 6 or 7 days, 5, 6 days to complete the trip. So you then get to a place with a 2-axle truck, and as they start pumping you, I think, shit, this is heavy. And then you suddenly realise you're at 42 ton gross, you're loaded, and so we were taking a lot of chances coming back in where we knew we were overweight, or you might not necessarily be over your gross weight, but if you've got 10 heavy pallets on the front, you'll still be overweight on the pin. So it was just, we ended up selling every 2-axle and swapping it for a 3-axle truck just to get, because in my opinion, an overweight offence is more serious than a tachograph offence when you get stopped by the DVSA. I've been to 2 public inquiries, and one of the public inquiries, I was grilled on overweight offences, really heavily as well. And I had the perfect answer, because at that point, we'd got rid of all of the 2 axles, swapped them for 3 axles. So that's how we'd fixed the problem. But I thought I was going to get completely torn apart for by the traffic commissioner wasn't. It was the overweight offences. Wow. Yeah, serious problem.
Some of those old limited editions you're on about there, some of those scanners were beautiful.
They were. I
sometimes see pictures of them pop up and stuff.
Yeah, they were great trucks, but everybody raves about them now. Everybody's buying them to collect them now, but we had them when they were new. When they were really fashionable, we had them to start off with, and I think that is part of the reason why White's Transport is such a popular company on social media, is because of the trucks that we had. We had the first Blue Stream in the country. We had the first Red Passion. We had we didn't have the first Dark Diamond, but we had the number 1. We had 2 Dark Diamonds, including number 1, and that truck is just sold for an incredible sum. Probably when I sold it, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, that truck is sold recently for 3 times what I sold it for.
Wow.
Yeah, someone spent a lot of money.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Someone spent a lot of money on it, redoing the interior, absolutely nut and bolt restoration. But they're fetching some big money now. But I didn't have all of them. We didn't have the Silver Griffin and we didn't have the Golden Griffin, but we had 5 other ones. Yeah, and we had a photo shoot back in October 2016. All of the trucks weren't there, but it was a beautiful day, and it was some great photographs. And that was in the front cover of the Commercial Motor. And my dad always said that the being on the front cover of the Commercial Motor is a kiss of death. Like the Voser will come knocking on your door. They see you're doing really well. They want to know why, and they come knocking. And it was literally a month or so after we was on the front cover of the Commercial Motor, we were called into a public inquiry, and my dad didn't want to do it, and I was like, it'd be great for us, and he was proved right. And this, I can say it because this will go out after on the middle of December. We're in the Commercial Motor again. It was what happened next to White's Transport. So we had a photo shoot 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we've only got 3 trucks now. But we had a photo shoot with me and my dad in the trucks, and like where like White's Transport, we got out of it really quickly at the times when the truck prices were so high, absolutely cashed out. And they was like, what are you and your dad doing now, and where are you up to? So we've sort of done another piece for the commercial motor.
Yeah,
Nice.
sort of before and after. Yeah.
If you were, I mean, safe to say, you're obviously going to choose American roads for obvious reasons, but if you were to start up your own firm tomorrow and you had the choice.
You'd be an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, but if you had the choice though between the American trucks, the new American trucks, or the new European trucks, what would you go for?
Oh, European trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've driven bonneted trucks. They're a pain.
yeah, they're turning circles of a jumbo jet. There is the European trucks.
So they don't have everything right.
No, there's a blogger or a YouTuber. I don't know if he's Australian or he's American, but he has got a 770 double drive Scania heading out to him now. I think he might.
American.
Bruce.
Yes.
Bruce.
But I've seen. Yeah, I've seen some of his videos with the truck being loaded onto a boat. Yeah, it's an R770 low cab, but I think it's a 3.3 meter wheelbase, double drive, and so he's got a big following as well. So he will highlight European trucks over on the States.
You got a ballistic done this some years ago for buying that old. It was a 144, a famous old sort of show truck that everyone thought was beautiful and it was lovely, and cut the chassis, cut the cab off it, didn't they, and stuff. Everyone thinking, cutting a brand new truck apart and whatever, but actually it had its day.
The 144s and the 164s were
I think they were the worst ones they ever made.
Yeah, but they in the last few years, the 144s or 164s have been good collector's trucks. Now, I feel personally that it's moving over to the early R series. So the 04, 05, 06, 07, the early R series, people are now trying to collect them. So I think it's just moved on a generation.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It'd be interesting watching his perspective now, because that truck can only be there for, is it a year? It's got a permit for about a year.
I don't know,
something like that.
I don't know. I know Dave up in Canada.
Yeah,
they're now getting whites with Scania engines in.
Right. Yeah.
He was going to have one on demo, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was just waiting for it to come.
Because there is Scania US now, isn't
but
there?
But if you ask an American truck driver what they think of the European trucks, they have no interest in them at all. No, I'm not interested in that. What a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
Only last 3 years and throw them away, which is true.
Yeah.
Which is true on a lot of trucks where they plan on keeping them for us for so long. We were in Wyoming and we stopped at a transport calf, and there was
the story, the bit before that when we stopped to take the photos was better.
Go on, tell her then. This is your podcast, I'm stealing it.
Literally on a long straight piece of road, like nothing, no houses, nothing. So we pulled up in the middle of the road and we were going to take a 360 pan. And as we started doing it, a car appears out of nowhere, pulls round us, goes about 100 yards down the road, stops, turns around, comes back, and sort of pulls up. And there's a young girl, about 19, and she said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, we're just taking some photos." "Oh, okay." She said, "Does this road's not very busy?"
Oh.
And we thought if you had a problem, I could maybe help.
Yeah.
He said, No, it's fine. Okay, thank you. So spun round and off she went again. Yeah. So, then we get down to the truck stop. Do you want to go on?
So we get down to the truck stop and she works there. She served our breakfast. The last thing I would want is my daughter to be stopping and asking two men if they're okay. But she said it's such a safe place out there.
Oh, no. What was her name? Doreen?
Okay, I don't know. The woman that owned it. But we had our breakfast and there was a trucker in there. And we noticed a truck when we come in. It was, what was it? A Kenworth?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2021 Kenworth. But the one, like the 2021, they look no different to the 1980 ones. He had because their trailers out there 53 foot long. And the wheelbase on their trucks, they're just enormous. But we were admiring the truck. It was beautiful, so clean, loads of chrome on it. The trailer was really smart as well. And we got inside and we started chatting to him and we had really good conversation. And he was just coming back from California with a load of lettuce for Chinese restaurants, and he was going back to Minnesota. It's like a 3-day drive or thereabouts. But they can cover like 750 miles in a day.
That's crazy.
And 75 mile an hour 10 hours driving. They can, it's incredible what they can cover. And he was telling us what his truck cost is fairly equivalent to what a top spec V8 Scania with a really good trailer behind it would cost. But their prices for fuel is so much less. The land that they rent for their yards is so much less.
4 times bigger as well.
Yeah. They're in the UK, we're so limited on space, and land costs so much money. And I see that when you go to France as well. You see these small transport companies with like 10 trucks have got the coolest yard and warehouse, and and I'm like, just in the UK, just so many hauliers can't afford that. It's just
it's getting ridiculous, isn't it? Really.
But the trucks out there were really cool. But would I want to drive them? No, I wouldn't. Yeah,
different beast.
Look great, not great to drive.
Yeah, not great to drive. No comfort. Give me Scania 770 on full air.
Yeah,
with fridge, microwave, TV, all night aircon.
Yeah,
give me that all day cruise. Because over there, there's no, they don't have cruise control and all that. It's just
it is what it is.
Yeah,
you're in the truck.
Adaptive cruise control is just let the truck.
But that's when they'll say we're the real drivers. Just a quick message from us, guys. This all wouldn't be possible. The Talkin Shop podcast wouldn't be possible without Eclipse Diagnostics, the company that's made all of this happen, really, haven't they, Aaron? Yep. The leading supplier of Jaltest diagnostics. If you have your own commercial vehicle fleet or a fleet of machinery or even boats now as well, vessels, make sure to get in touch with Eclipse Diagnostics for the Jaltest product, the world's #1 diagnostic product for commercial vehicles.
Because aren't you in a Scania now? For what you drive every day, you're in a 730, is it?
Yeah. I always had Volvos.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably, from early 90s.
Yeah.
But virtually it was all Volvos until a little bit with Pete with the DAF. The Volvos, great truck. Yeah, great all-round truck. Yeah. And comparing it to the 142s, 143s. Scania's great engine.
I've got another funny story about a Volvo in a minute, but carry on.
Great engine.
Come back to that.
But the rest of it, the seats, the driving position, they just weren't comfortable. Okay. I didn't think they were a great truck to drive.
Yeah.
Great engine. Like, you pull a house down.
Yeah.
But that was my opinion.
You've probably knocked a few houses down.
It was rolling on the end of the tongue.
You fell into that one.
Yeah. And so I was always, and then I got a 500 Scania S-Gen.
Yeah.
Full air, retarder. What a nice piece of kit to drive. Quiet, do everything you want it to do. It's got a flat space to put things.
Because it's an S cab
as well. It's just, it's right.
Yeah.
And that kind of converted me. Yeah, I'm happy with the Scania. Yeah. And then I had another 500 and I started with OPEX. Had a 500 and then recently turned around and gave me the 730.
Lovely. That'll do.
What a nice piece of kit.
Yeah.
What you find with the older drivers, when they get the powerful trucks, they drive them properly. A younger lad with a big, powerful engine will show off a fair bit.
Yeah.
And the older trucks will respect the power more. So it is. There's two types of drivers for me. There's the young drivers that are really keen that polish the trucks and show off the trucks, but sometimes they don't last very long. They get bored very quickly. They get pressures from home, and they don't last very long. The older drivers, I started off preferring the younger drivers, better relationships with them, but towards the end of my career, I preferred the older drivers because with young drivers, you give them a crap job and they think they're being punished. Like a 10-drop London, they think they're being punished. Whereas the older drivers, it's just another load. Yeah. It's just the next load, which will then lead on to the next one. So you got two drivers, and one got 10 drops London, and the other one's going to Portugal. The one going to London wants to know why he's going to London, what he's done wrong, why is he being punished. It's just another load.
Yeah. The oldies are built different.
Yeah, they are. the old drivers, if things go wrong and they suddenly have to wait 36 hours to load, okay,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. The younger drivers are impatient. I'm not
coming
saying
from you. That's funny.
Yeah.
Which is life now in general, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Is it something you've
always done them, Brian? Obviously,
No. I didn't start driving.
I don't think we've got long enough to talk about his professional career.
No, I didn't start driving trucks until I was about 32.
Right. Okay.
Which was still a pretty long time ago.
Yeah. We did have running water and electricity then.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
No, I'd been a salesman. I'd been a lifeguard.
Typewriter salesman.
It was, yeah. Olivetti.
Yeah.
Rep for Olivetti. I was a bingo caller.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Why? It was a very, very good job.
Pulling all the old women.
That's what makes me laugh. Two little ducks, whack, whack.
It was actually at the time when you still had that on the seaside bingo halls down on the seaside thing. Yeah. But it was when bingo literally become professional. Mm-hmm. There was none of that. Their thinking behind it, I was working with Top Rank at the time, and their thinking behind it was that anybody could come from anywhere in the country and would understand.
Yeah.
Where you'd go to the local seaside one and it'd be specific things for there that somebody playing wouldn't understand if they weren't from that area. Mm-hmm. So it was a good time. And it was also the time when they introduced the link games. So you were having multi-clubs playing at the same time.
For the big money.
Mm-hmm. Back then it was £1,000.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, it's just after they changed from
That's
gross.
one truck sale.
That's it.
Yeah.
So at what point then did you think, did obviously make the jump into truck driving?
I grew up, my father was involved in coaches, black and white coaches. So I'd never had any doing anything to do with transport whatsoever. But at the time I had a taxi, doing okay. And then the government in their wisdom introduced deregularisation. So for coaches, but the local council decided to extend it into taxis. So up until then, if you wanted a hackney carriage in Cheltenham, where I'm from, you had to buy an existing car with a plate.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
So it was about 15 grand to buy the taxi and the plate. So, and they brought in this deregularisation, and if you wanted a plate, you could go down the town hall and just get one.
Right. Okay. So
it went from 89 hackney carriages to over 250 in less than 6 months. The population didn't increase by 3. Mm-hmm. The amount of work that you could get certainly decreased. Yeah. And I had a friend that owned a trade plating company.
Okay.
And he just said, go and get yourself HGV. He specialised in trucks. Go and get yourself HGV, come and work for me. I said, oh, really? Yeah. So I did. And so that was how I started. Took my test on the Wednesday, got into a left-hand drive truck on the Friday.
Wow.
So...
took the mirrors off on Saturday.
Took the office out on the Sunday.
So that's how I started, and then it was back when we used to have the trade plate stand at the end of the road. Somebody would pick you up and give you a lift.
Yeah. You don't see any of that.
No.
I've got trade plates for my business. I haven't used them because I was quoted £17,000 for a year's worth of insurance.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so
which is just a statement to his driving.
So when I move trucks now, I make sure it's taxed and is insured by the new owners. So I'm okay to drive it.
Yeah.
But I was like, what a great idea getting the trade plates and never feather in the cap. But
wow.
Yeah, 17 grand. It's like that is absolute. And just so I would use it maybe a couple of times a month, but to insure a truck now. Just a proper, a normal truck with a trailer with goods on, it's about 10 grand a year. Thereabouts. So I was thinking, how on earth can they figure out that it's 17 grand? Wow. I'm sure there's cheaper prices out there, and I've just partnered up with an insurance company. They're going to be linked to my website soon, and they're looking into it for me now. But it's something else I want to offer. And long term, he could be my driver to go and pick up trucks and deliver them.
There you go.
Across the country, but is not at 17 grand a year.
That's just
craziness.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
this guy picked me up one day. I was trying to get down by Dover, an Irish guy, left-hand drive, Turbostar, 190/42 Turbostar, hell of a beast, I think. And just chatting on the way down, and he said, "Can you drive left-hand drive?" I said, "Yeah. Oh. Come and work for me," he said.
Yeah.
I said, "What? He's going to Italy." I'd never been abroad in my life.
No.
Yes. Yeah. So I did.
Yeah.
And that's how I started.
And that was just from there, that day, you just knew that you sort of had that passion there ready for it as well.
You like regarding most truck drivers, when they get to 60s and 70s, they're coming right to the end of it. But like, you won't see many guys mid 70s that is as fit and able as what he is. His brain's still very sharp. His body's still pretty good. Whereas most people are, they're pretty gone by age. No, I'm not.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm not being nice. When he first worked for me, like he was annoying because I'm under pressure and I'm stressed, and every conversation he had to end it with something that was sarcastic or witty or funny, and I was like, I don't have time for this shit. Just get on with the fucking job. But to start off with, it was really, really annoying. Like I've since 2018, for the first 3 years, Dad, let me sack him. Let me sack him, Dad. He is so annoying, Dad. Let me sack him. And he's like, no, you're not going to sack him. And then like, I think it was like in the last year, like
there's a bit more than that.
Right, no, from 2021 onwards, I was like, okay, I'm not going to sack him. And then we just become like a lot of the ex-drivers like, why are you friends with Brian now? Because so many times you tried to sack him. Every little mistake you did, just you're begging your dad to let you sack him. I was like, yeah, I know, it's gone full circle.
Yeah.
One of life's lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's I was like a bit younger, a bit more impulsive, but as every year of my planning, I got better at handling the drivers, better at dealing with the customers, better at planning the work, better. And then when I took my tests and I was doing the job myself, I was better understanding of what the drivers actually faced when they were out on the road.
Yeah.
And it's certain. I know they say you don't need to be a driver to be a good planner, but it certainly gave me a better understanding of the job, of what the drivers faced. And they do put up with a lot of shit from miserable people, and that is why I back the drivers, because I found that hard to tolerate.
And then you got that video today.
What one? Oh yeah, so this morning, so me and my dad have only got 3 trucks now. So we work for one customer doing a set run with 2 trucks, and then my dad's got a 660 Scania which he sort of floats about in as and when he wants.
That's a good choice of words.
Yeah. It's available for me to drive if I haven't done much driving lately. I've been too busy, but it's available for me and my dad to drive whenever we want. So the 2 drivers that work for us, they start early hours of the morning. One starts about 1 o'clock in the morning and the other one starts about 2 every Monday to Friday. So we've got a guy that's worked for us for a long time, a guy called Mark. He's a motorbike rider. He doesn't have a car. He does everything on his motorbike. And this morning
just to put into perspective, he lives down in Bridgewater.
Yeah, he lives in Taunton. Our yard's in Swindon.
Yeah,
he
should have been.
Yeah. He set off early hours of this morning to come to work. We've had horrendous weather the last few days.
Oh yeah.
And he got within a couple of miles of the trucks, and the road was flooded like 3 foot deep, and he couldn't go through it. So he rang my dad. He woke my dad up. My dad was like, okay, I'll come in the car and I'll come and get you. So my dad got as close as he could. And then Mark is probably 200 meters from the other side of the flood to where my dad is, this side of the flood. And we got a trailer fully loaded with meat that has to be there. So Mark waded through the water up to his waist, 200 meters at 3 o'clock this morning. It's on my Facebook. My dad videoed him. My dad had the lights on full beam, videoed him, and he had his bags, and he's a big guy as well. He's a really big lad, and he had his bags, and he waded through 200 meters of water, like up to his waist, above his waist at some point to get to the truck and to get so he could get to work. And that is how many drivers these days would have just turned not done it at at all,
That's it.
or just
I'm
turned
not leaving
around
the
and
house
gone
because
home.
of the flood. Yeah.
The video's only about 10, 15 seconds.
No, it's longer than that. It's about 45 seconds long, I think.
But so worth watching because you just think like,
He's trying not to trip on anything. He's carrying his bags. He's going to be away all week, and he's wading through the
Freezing
water.
cold.
And he's left his bike the other side of the flood, which my dad will have to sort out at some point today. But I was like, that is dedication. That somebody it is important to them to fulfill their job, their duty.
Yeah.
There are so many people that would just not bother, turned around, gone home.
to be honest, I don't think I certainly wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I'd have rented a boat or something.
Rocking horse.
What I would have done slightly differently is I wouldn't have left it to the last minute. So I was taught a valuable lesson a few years ago. So we did a regular meat job out to France. It would load on a Friday and deliver on a Monday. So I could, for the ferries from Portsmouth to Caen, there's 3 every day. So we could have caught Friday night. We could have caught 3 on Saturday. We could have caught 2 on Sunday. We could have caught up until the dinner time Sunday one in order to be at the delivery point on time. So I got the trailer back to my yard. It was bad weather, and I sent the driver down to catch the last available boat on the Sunday afternoon. And when he got there, the ferry was cancelled. And I rang the agent up to tell him, a guy called Michael, he's retired now, best meat agent I've ever worked with, an incredible man, Irish, very hot, very bad temper, but he knows his stuff. And I rang him and I told him, and he went absolutely ballistic on the phone. I was like, hang on a fucking minute. It's not our fault the boat's cancelled. He went, no, but it's your fault you choose to take the last available one when you knew the weather was bad. He said, you should have planned better. And as soon as he said that, I was like, God, he's 100% right. He is 100% right. And I was like, it's not my fault the boat's cancelled. I can't do anything about it. And he's like, no, but there was 6 or 7 different boats you could have took, and you chose the last one to take. And when you're delivering hanging meat, like when it's late, people are stressed and people are under pressure, and it costs money. So the meat being on time is so important. So that taught me what I got the driver to do. The driver to come back to the yard, have his weekend break in the yard or at home or wherever, and then go on the Sunday after his break. I should have just shipped him out. And I've had it before where I've had drivers, a trailer loaded for Spain on a Thursday, brought it back to the yard to catch the Saturday morning ferry to Spain. I'll have a driver in Berlin, and the driver will get back to the yard early hours of the Saturday morning, swap trailers down to catch the ferry. And that's how tight my planning was. And then that driver would then get his 24-hour break whilst on the ferry. And like late Friday afternoon, I get an email from Brittany Ferries to say that due to a storm in the Bay of Biscay, the Spanish boat is cancelled. And I am then suddenly up shit creek without a paddle, because that driver can't do it. He's going to get, when he finishes his shift early hours of the Saturday morning, he suddenly needs his 24-hour rest. He can't go anywhere. And then I've got like all sorts of I put myself into that position many times, but it's because my planning was so tight. It was the only way I could cover all my work, and 9 times out of 10 it always worked. Maybe better odds than that, but when it went wrong,
there's no plan B.
Disaster. It wasn't. It was because our customers, none of the meat customers would accept for it being late. They don't care. No. They don't care. We pay you the right money. It needs to be there. It was, very, very, my routine of how stressed I was for so long is so different to what I do now. It's unreal. I would on a Friday, I would work up until 10 o'clock at night, be in the office at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, stay there till 9 o'clock at night, get home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, absolutely mentally drained. Last Friday, I went in the office at 9:30. Me and Dan left the office at 11:30, and I went and got my hair cut. And I was at home, laid on the sofa watching telly, and a guy was going to look at a truck up in Scotland, and he messaged me saying, I like the truck so much, I bought the sister one as well. And I was like, ching ching, and that's while I was just at home doing nothing. And I was like, what a great result that was. So absolutely. It's totally different with the stress. And when Brian worked for us, I pushed the drivers hard. I did push them hard. I openly admit it. I pushed them to the limit, but we were never involved in serious accidents. We were never involved in any accidents where anybody died. And we tried to cherry pick our drivers, proper lorry drivers. But we did push them hard. We did push them to the limit. Brian's at an age now where he wants a slightly easier life. Or he doesn't want to work as hard as how I pushed him. So I don't think he'd be able to cope with my planning. And I've offered him a couple of jobs with the set runs that we've got, but because it's nighttime, but not nighttime, but very early hours. He's it's not for him anymore.
Yeah.
No.
So the job he's got now is slow paced.
Slower.
Yeah,
not
slower paced, nice and steady.
Similar type work, same.
No. It's curtain side, Euroliners,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
as opposed to fridges. From choice, I still prefer a fridge.
Yeah.
I can put up with the noise.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
not the
You can
problem.
sleep at night.
Yeah, fridge work is go.
If you do fridge a lot, once you pull, if you're a fridge driver, the only time you hear the fridge is when it stops.
Right. Yeah. True. It's like a white noise almost. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So I suppose then, as obviously as Pete as a boss, then obviously although it was very busy, I kind of get it. Was it quite nice knowing that the back was covered? And
Not for the first 3 years, what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
No. Always Ray's old school.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm amazed he hasn't mentioned it, but I'm actually older than Ray. I'm older than his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not by a lot, but I am older than his dad. But no, it's you always knew that Ray would have your back because that's the type of person he is.
Our biggest customer down in West Wales, the trailers never used to come out there till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we were very well known in the village. The local garage, they did a lot of our repairs and maintenance. I knew the guy so well. I went to his wedding, and we put a lot of trucks in them. And when I did this bit off the topic, but when I went to his wedding with my wife, we got to the hotel, and they gave me the keys to the honeymoon suite. And I was like, no, I'm not getting married. I'm a guest. And he said, oh, your name's down for the honeymoon suite. So I went to Grant, whose wedding it was, and he had one of our trucks as like a wedding car sort of thing. And I said, I've just checked in and they told me I've got the honeymoon suite. He said, yeah, that's right. He said, we got the kids, so we got the family room. He said, I enjoy the honeymoon suite. So it was great. But we were so well known in the village. We sponsored football matches, and we sponsored darts events, and it was only a sleepy little town in West Wales, but our trucks had been going there for so long, and we had a great community spirit. We felt like we were part. I played in charity football matches down there myself, and the local pubs knew all our drivers, and they would let the drivers have cheap, like 30 quid for a hotel room with a shower and a bath rather than sleeping in the lorry. So we used to get down there a lot because, like, especially towards the end of the week, there'd be like 10 trailers leaving. We had stand trailers down there, but not enough. So I would get the drivers down there for lunchtime on a Thursday, for example. They wouldn't be leaving till 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday, and they may only be going to Portsmouth, which is less than a 5-hour drive. So what the drivers usually get down there, and then they go on the piss. So there was loads pubs in the village. The town was a couple of minutes away. So the drivers would all be on the piss we did for years, but by the time they had a lie in the following day, and then they didn't start work till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they were fine to drive. But one day down there, they all went out on the piss. About four or five of them went out on the piss, and I knew that he was really, really pissed. And in the morning, Grant from the garage rang me up. He's like, yeah, I've got a bit of a problem. I said, what? He said, Captain Slow snapped the indicator stalk off in the lorry. I was like, how on earth has he done that? He's like, I think he fell over when he was pissed, and the indicator with the main beam
left a bit.
He'd fallen over in the lorry and snapped it off. And this is at a point where, like, he's having his break, he's having his time off.
No.
The lorry has to go. He's got to go to Italy or Spain. That's what mainly the loads that come out of there at the end of the week. And I'm like, Grant, you need to fix this. He's like, this is like dinner time now. Like, and he's like, I don't even know where I can get one from. And I was like, get on the phone, find out where they've got one. This he can't not go tonight. So straight away, battles, like, everyone is in panic stations, and he'll send someone off in a van to a Volvo dealer like 2 hours away to pick the part up and bring it back. And they fixed wheel bearings for us. Like, drivers left, the wheel bearings gone on a truck, and literally like they just jump on it. They're proper old school mechanics. Brilliant bunch of guys. And I can't speak highly enough of them. The amount of times that they have got me out the shit, because trucks and trailers break down. You have issues. And we would leave there, and then there'd be an issue, and the driver would be chasing to get the boat, and they would just drop everything to get everybody, like, whatever other work they're doing, drop it, focus on our truck. And the amount of times that we've caught the ferry when we shouldn't have because of their help. That's incredible. But the village in West Wales is great.
Grant and
guys.
Gary are just
Great. But we
great guys.
that's one thing I miss about the job, because we had such a good relationship with all the people down there.
Yeah.
And then me and my dad carried on for a year doing the job, one job a week out of there, which was leaving on a Monday, little round robin to Brittany, Normandy, Paris, Belgium, and then back to Swindon. My dad would do it 1 week. I would do it the next week. We had a left-hand drive 770 Scania, but we did it for about 15 months. The job come to an end. I was ready for it to come to an end anyway.
Yeah.
I did run just like market every other week. And my dad would book his holidays, so I would have to do 2 in a row, like rather than booking it when it was my turn. So I ended up doing more than him. And it was fine.
That's the benefits of being the boss.
Yeah, well, it's fine when we were going out of Portsmouth. It was easy, but sometimes we had to go through the train, and then it was, rather than being a jolly, it turned into long overnight slogs, and it was really hard. And I hate night work as well. And doing a night shift. I'm fine with early hours of the morning starts. 1-2 o'clock in the morning, no problem. I can start. But from 10 o'clock at night onwards, 9-10 o'clock at night onwards, my body just feels like it wants to shut down.
Yeah.
I hate those sort of hours for me. And one of the last trips I did, I was driving. It was my boy's birthday last year, and it was all the trucks were told to stay off the road because there was a massive storm in France. You know, when you get those alerts on your phone to say I had one of them to say that all HGVs above 3.5 ton need to be off the road, parked up, and I was like, it's my boy's birthday. I'm going to be there. And I had to drive from Paris out to Brittany, then go and get loaded and catch the boat whilst all the trucks needed to be off the road. But it was horrendous driving, really, really dangerous. But I would never have lived it down if I didn't get back.
No, sometimes just needs
just crack on really. But the drive from Paris out to Brittany, when you're doing it the opposite way around, is leaving Paris at 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's a killer. It is. It's a killer.
Yeah. The biggest problem with that run is you can't do it in 4.5.
Right.
Yeah, you're like 20 minutes short. So you've got to stop them out.
You've got to stop.
Yeah.
And so you've come out of Paris. So it's now getting on like 2 o'clock in the morning. You're banjaxed. And you don't know what to, dare I get on the bunk?
Yeah.
Do I just drink coffee?
Yeah. It's just, you don't really know what to do that time of night, really, do you? Yeah.
If you could do it in 4.5, you could just bang straight down there.
We would meet up in Rungis when he was working for the company, worked after us, and I was doing my job. So we would meet up, go out for dinner, have a couple of pints, and go back to the lorry and sleep. And then I left Paris about an hour after him, and on one night, and he was asleep on the hard shoulder. Because in France, you can pretty much stop wherever you want. They got like the SOS laybys. You can stop wherever you want to go to sleep. So he was fast asleep. I was gone. Yeah, just he obviously needed.
Did I get to where I had to be on time?
But maybe, I don't know. I wasn't planning you, so I wouldn't know. You weren't working. You wouldn't have stopped if you were working for me.
Yeah.
That's because you were a bully.
No, I wasn't. That's
still do a lot of European work, don't you? Where you work now. Yeah. I think I know the answer here, but obviously, do you prefer to drive on in Europe than over here? Or
it's a different feel.
I do.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's easier to drive in the UK because you've got no language problems and you understand all the rules and regulations. Yeah, but it's a different feel to driving in Europe.
They're mad in Italy, though.
Yeah, lunatics.
The way I look at it,
and they don't care if they damage their car as well. They just take your bumper off and they're gone. Don't stop.
Honest to God, I smashed it. Honestly, great trip. And I said the night before we parked up at the hotel, we were on our way back now. So we just been to Portofino in Genoa, and we parked the car. And I went, the car has been wicked. We've not had a problem. We've not hit traffic. We've not hit a pothole. It has been perfect.
He didn't touch wood.
I pulled out the hotel the next day. I've hit a motorbike and I hit a car about 100 metres away from the hotel the next day. So it properly jinxed it. And I drove all the way home with a car which basically didn't have a panel without a damage.
So it looked like an Italian driver.
It did look, if it wasn't for the UK plates, everyone would have gone typical Italian BM driver. That.
And like they're lunatics. They all drive little cars. They're battered on every corner.
The further east you go, the worse they get.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. So by the time you get down to sort of Athens or Istanbul...
Really?
There's no rules anymore.
No.
Oh, God, yeah.
There's no rules.
Best place to drive?
Best place to drive... To actually drive, probably Canada or America.
Okay, yeah.
But
For ease.
in Europe, for me, I've not done anywhere near the amount, but France is an easy country to drive.
Yeah, it's just toll roads.
Yeah, France is easy.
Yeah.
Spain is also a great country to drive in.
Yeah.
I drove from Vigo in Spain. I did like a 250 kilometer drive without a single junction or a roundabout on a national road. No T junctions, no roundabouts, just absolutely flowing with beautiful scenery either side. It was great. But my European experience, I've done a fair bit of France and Belgium, but I've done Italy once, I've done Spain once, I've done Norway, I've done Sweden twice. So I have
one country I've never been.
I have been to a lot of places, but I haven't been multiple times.
No.
So he's never been to Norway, but he's been to a lot of places that I've never been to.
No.
Basically, I haven't been to Norway, Albania, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania.
Yeah, so that's
that's
corner
just,
up there.
That's just about it.
There's no desire for me to drive up there, I'll be honest.
And then other than that, Finland is as far north Africa.
Yeah, sure.
Is
it the same sort of routes you're doing now then, or does it
pretty much
change?
now? It's one of our main contracts is Toulouse or Hamburg.
Okay, yeah.
Which are very steady places to drive to.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a road trip, Rotterdam, down through Germany into the sort of east of Switzerland, come back up across from Italy, do all the French Riviera, and then down, then do that whole coast of Spain all the way around, and then Santander and get the boat back.
Yeah, I've done those routes.
Funny enough, the guy that you borrowed the Porsche shop, I was working for him.
Okay.
And we were doing ship stores from Rotterdam down to Civita Vecchia, Rome.
Yeah.
And that was down through the Brenner.
Yeah.
When I did my Italy trip, I went through the Mont Blanc on the way there.
Yeah.
And then I went all the way down to the on the coast towards Pescara, across to Rome, and all the way up that coast. And then when I loaded, I went to Genoa, all along the coast road there, and then I come back through the Frasers. Yeah. And that was probably the best scenery I've ever seen on a trip.
Oh, amazing!
That was incredible. Yeah.
Did you go into like Portofino and stuff? That is just mind blowing. Wow, that is amazing.
The road for like the Genoa road, I didn't need to take it, but I just wanted to. But hard road for a truck. Yeah. Really hard. Tunnels, bridges, and you'll be on the motorway and suddenly you have to brake hard to go around the tight bend, and like it's really it's great. It was but the scenery coming through the Blanc and then back through the Frasers.
Incredible.
I had the best of both of it. Yeah. And it was. And then earlier this year I went down to Cannes, south of France, and I'd done all that. I didn't go quite as far as Monte Carlo and places like that, but I saw where the parts I seen was really nice. And I got down there, I parked the truck up. I then flew home. I flew home, and then I flew back down to reload on a Saturday. I flew back down a week later to reload on a Saturday, but I couldn't drive on the Sunday because it was a driving ban with the trailers that we carried. If you've got a fridge trailer, just go. Yeah. Chances are you'll be fine. So I thought, I'm not very good at waiting in trucks. I carry very little equipment with me to make it comfortable. So I was like, oh, fuck it, what am I going to do? So I rented a motorbike, and I took the motorbike from Cannes down to Saint-Tropez and back. Oh, just shorts and t-shirt. Yeah. It was a 600cc Honda. Just like an open face helmet. Rode down to, had me towel, found a little beach and spent a couple hours on the beach. But I rode that, and when I got back, I had it all day, and I was halfway I got back to Cannes, and then I was heading towards Monaco. I was gonna ride to Monaco, ride around the track, and then come back. But I was like halfway. I was about 20 miles away from Monaco, and I could see a massive storm cloud coming. I was like, I need to turn around. I turned around and went back, and I got the bike back to the bike shop. It's only like €100 to rent it for a day. Got the bike back to the bike shop, and then the heavens opened. Yeah. And I was like, I only had shorts and t-shirt on. You shouldn't ride in shorts and t-shirt for a whole day, but everyone did it. I was like, whatever. So, but I come up to a load of traffic, filtered to the front where all the bikes were, and there was a bike that had been hit off by a car on a junction, and I was just there waiting, engine off, and the guy next to me, he looked at me. He was a French guy. He looked at like shorts, t-shirt. He's like, no, terrible. And I was like, yeah, I know.
I see it now.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. And he's like, look at that guy being carted off in an ambulance.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't speak any English. He was just pointing and shaking his head.
Yeah,
as if to say,
you know he knew.
as if to say, you are an
muppet.
you are an idiot. But it was great fun riding all around the coast, seeing all the. I love being near the sea anyway. But yeah, that was, and I text my missus FaceTimed me when I was on the beach, and she was like, this is meant to be work. I was like, I am working. And she's like, don't look like you're working. Like, as it's but
you've got to have the good moments though to remember.
Yeah. I did a trip to Sweden last year as well, and literally I drove there, dropped the lorry off, had a night in a hotel. Had a couple of beers, but then flew home the following day, and then flew back out a week later, loaded, and then come straight back. So I went to Stockholm, didn't see anything.
No.
Just literally the place where
we like pulling the fridge.
Yeah, the place where we unloaded. So most lorry drivers, what they say to you, even though they travel all around Europe, all they see is industrial estates and lay-bys.
Yeah.
They don't get to see the Colosseum when they go to Rome, and they don't get to see all the beautiful places that they should do, unless they take a wrong turn. But it's like they enjoy the scenery on the way there, but when they go to these places, they have very little time to see what they need to see, what the tourists.
I think people think, oh, you've been to Rome, so you've seen that.
I went to Rome. I did free deliveries in Rome, and didn't see anything. Saw an airport. Saw an airport and just.
I've done a little bit. You do get a chance occasionally.
Yeah.
You know, San Marco Square, the Vatican. You sort of wander around places like that, but it's not the holiday.
Yeah, lorry drivers are well travelled, but they don't. Yeah, they just see.
The motorway.
I've never been abroad on holiday in my life.
Yeah.
Until he dragged me out.
Yeah.
And then you've seen it all.
Yeah.
And you have literally seen all. And many more than many people in this country have seen in the US.
The trip we did in America, we went to because in America it's so odd. Every state is independently governed. So like gambling in one state is legal, and then you cross the state line and it's not.
Yeah.
And we went to St. Louis in Missouri, and literally we crossed over the border from whichever state we was in, and we were only just inside the border. And there's casinos everywhere. So we had the nights we were away. We probably had 3 or 4 nights at casinos. And when we went to Colorado, we stayed at a place called Cripple Creek. It is like 14,000 feet above sea level.
Wow.
And it is a tiny little gold mining town in the middle of nowhere.
Cool.
And this town is like a small village. That's how small it is, but it's got like 4 massive casinos in it. And they are all
the casinos are on
reservations.
Native Indian land.
Yeah.
So
they got it sewn up. They've got it.
Yeah.
Sussed.
Yeah. So we had some, he loves his gambling. I like playing blackjack, but just play to have fun really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had, quality time. It was the trip of a lifetime. It really, really was.
Yeah.
But it's difficult spending so much time with somebody. Like we 17 days that I was like, I'm going to end up killing him or whatever. But it is if we talked, we talked. If we sat in silence for hours, we sat in silence for hours.
That was the weird thing. We never discussed what we were going to do.
Yeah.
No, it just roll with it.
Yeah, made it up as we went. But
literally we were.
Found somewhere to stay. Found a new place to stay.
In fairness to Pete, his planning for that in the afternoon. His job was to sort out the accommodation.
Yeah.
I'd drive, he'd be there, tapping away, playing a silly buggers. I think half the time he was doing Candy Crush or something.
No, I don't play any games on my phone. Never play. I don't have time for
some of the places we found, that old hospital.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful.
Yeah, it's an old hospital that had been converted into a hotel. And our room was room 24, which is a maternity suite, which is really odd.
That's strange. Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is which is to do with this podcast. When
what was funny about it was next door to the maternity one was the nursery, and I can't understand why he didn't put them in the nursery.
One of I'd done the first podcast with you guys before, but I think it had just come out when we was away.
Yeah,
and he hadn't watched it, so we was there. Yeah, we was there. So we was at this place in Colorado, this Cripple Creek place, and we'd been to the casino. We'd had a few beers. We got back, and he had started watching the podcast, which is about 2.5 hours long. So he is on his phone and he's watching the podcast, and I'm listening to myself, which is odd.
Yes,
and I'm just doing my own thing. And then he's been like half an hour. He's been listening. I look over. He's still holding his phone. The podcast is still playing, and he's fast asleep. And I was like, you found it that interesting. And then I took the reason why our like chemistry is because I make out that I'm nasty to him all the time when I'm not. We're actually good friends, but all I do is criticize him on Facebook and take the piss out of him and then tag him in stuff. Not as much as I did. I do it now with memories that come up on my timeline, but when he worked for me, I did it all the time. And people was like, "Oh, you're so mean to him," and like, he put something on the other day about having a meal. And I was like, and I was like, you should eat every meal like it's your last, because you don't know how long you've got left. and that is all of my comments are that. So people are, you're so mean, you're so cool, but it's all in a fun way.
What a lot of them don't realise is that we'll have been chatting on the phone 10 minutes before he posts it, and he'll have said, "I'm going to put this up." There's something else that he posted recently about I think it's a wheelchair or something, and I was like, and I just criticize him as much as I can, and I said something the other week, because I've already wrote my urology for your funeral, and
I saw that.
and I just
it's good banter.
It is.
You know what?
It is good, but the reason he got the name Captain Slow was just one of our drivers just randomly called him it, and it stuck.
It's stuck.
Also, with our drivers, we had the best nicknames for our drivers. We had a driver, his name was Cockout Collins. He's the quietest bloke ever, but when he got drunk, he wanted to get naked. We had a driver, his nickname was Flash, and an abattoir we loaded from, he pulled a trailer off the bay that was still connected to the electric. Oh, no. And like the flash could be seen for like miles away, and it knocked the power out for like the entire plant. But yeah, we had all of our drivers had some great nicknames. Yeah, I can imagine. and it's just Captain Slow just sort of stuck with him.
Yeah.
So I'd never been known by that until 5 years ago.
Yeah. So when White's was sort of finishing, and he moved on to Pastures New, and I was like, you need to set your own Facebook page up, and he didn't have a clue how to do it. So I logged into it. He gave me his login details for his Facebook, and I set him up his own page, and then I shared it to say Captain Slow's got his own page now, blah blah blah. And overnight he had 10,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got 22,000 followers now, but overnight he had 10,000 people followed him.
Oh, fair play.
And what I like about our Facebook is it's not. I'm not a fan of the video Facebook. Like all of the bloggers and stuff where they video themselves. A lot of it is. I'm not criticizing them in any way, shape, or form. It's what
style.
they do. Yeah, but the videos of them talking cringiness I couldn't do that for myself. But my way of trying to make people laugh is just by what I write and the pictures I post.
Yeah,
and
like that.
And Brian's the same. Brian's the same. Interesting stuff. Where you go, what you do, add a bit of humour to it, a bit of sarcasm, a bit of wit. That's how I do it. I can't remember my pages on when I saw you last time, but I'm about 400 followers away from 100,000 now.
That's amazing.
And my page in the last 28 days has been seen by 7 million people.
Crazy.
That could be like you could share something and all your friends might see it, and it adds all them up. But I don't really know exactly how it works. But 7.2 million people or something has seen my page in the last. So which my page is an awesome advertising tool for the truck selling.
How is that going for you? Is it?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I've just
rubbish.
I've just done my 300th truck of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's incredible. It is, and I've got someone working for me full time now. So when I was here last time, I was on my own. So my phone was off for like 3 hours.
I remember.
And the anxiety going through my head. Like I know I said I wasn't as anxious. It's not nowhere near as anxious as when I was running Whites, because during those 3 hours I could have so many problems. But even last time I was here, I was like, I'm potentially missing out on truck sales or new adverts and new customers. But I've now got my brother that works full time in my office. So my phone, I don't even thought about my phone once since I've been here. My phone's diverted to the office. All of my WhatsApps can be seen on the computer. So anybody that WhatsApps me, it'll go through to the computers in the office. My brother's, I've worked with him for a long time, and he hasn't got the technical knowledge that I've got of the trucks. He wouldn't really he knows the difference now between like a tag axle and a mid-lift and various bits and pieces. He's getting there, but where I can look at a truck and without even somebody telling me what the spec is, I can sort of figure it out from the pictures. But he's great with people, so he's doing brilliant. And
Dan's biggest is he's totally different to you, and he takes that little bit more care with things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good dynamic to have.
Yeah. We work really well together.
Dan's.
But yeah, he started working for me in the middle of June, and it's gone. It was probably, I would say, my biggest risk since I started up on my own, because to employ someone full time, it's an expensive cost, and I was worried whether it wasn't going to work or not. But it's been much better than I ever hoped it would.
Amazing.
be. And which allows me to come to places like this and not worry about my phone and go on holidays and like Dan, when me and Dan are both there together, we're brilliant, but he can do it on his own and I can do it on my own. So, and like, and he just come back from 5 days in Gran Canaria, his missus. I'm like encourage him to have time off. And I want to give him a good life. And not life isn't all about work.
No.
Yeah. You got to have.
We work to live, not live to work.
But I worked for 20 years for my dad, and it was work. And the job, I was so obsessed, and
that's part of your problem.
Yeah, by the job, I couldn't let anybody take over the planning, and every problem was on my shoulders. And I would spend so much time stressing about work, and so every Sunday I would be at the kitchen table at home planning the trucks, giving information to the drivers. And if you got trucks working, you can have problems at any moment. 1 o'clock on a Sunday morning is no different to 1 o'clock on a Tuesday dinner time when you're running trucks doing the hours that we did. And although I loved every bit of it, I don't regret any of it. I don't regret how hard I worked 7 days a week for God knows how long, because it got me to where I am in life now, and I'm in a really, really happy place.
That's good.
Like 300 trucks in a year.
That's
incredible.
That is
incredible.
Yeah, and all the people I'm selling for, they're really happy. They're getting the right money for their trucks rather than going to it. I'm not slagging off dealers. That's not what I want to do, but they are getting considerable more money for their trucks. And now I can do finance as well. My website's about to be linked up with HGV Insurance, and I've got a company that want to partner up with me for a new cleaning product that's going to be coming out early next year as well. So I've now got affiliations with other brands. All these guys come to me. They want to. It's not me going to them. They know that how big the
platform is.
The following is and the platform is, and they come to me. So it's brilliant. It's working really well.
Well, if you want to sell your truck, reach out to Pete and plant as well.
Yeah. I've done a bit of plant. I've sold, like, I'll give you an example of how powerful it is. So last Sunday night, I put my wife's car, which was
I saw that.
Which is an Audi Q5 Black Edition Quattro, nice car, standard car, and I put it up there for 25 grand. And first phone call on Monday, I woke up Monday morning to a WhatsApp from a guy. He made me an offer. We did a bit of bartering, and it was sold by first phone call. By 9 o'clock Monday morning, the deal was done. The guy wanted to flip a coin for 23 grand or 26 grand or something. I was like, no, let's just agree a price. I know that when you gamble, the house always wins. So I'm terrible at gambling. And when I do gamble, it's for fun. I don't.
Not over.
So thousands. So we agreed a price. He paid, and he came down and picked it up. And that is, how many people do you know that can advertise their car and it can be sold by the first phone call? And that is how powerful my page is. I'm not really keen on selling cars unless it's for people. If it's somebody that I've sold trucks for and they want me to advertise their car, I've built a relationship with them already, I'll give it a go. But random people just come on to me, can you sell my car? No, it's not for me.
It's not what you specialise in.
If it's anything that I feel like a hauliers would relate to, like a Range Rover, Defenders, Discoveries,
commercial,
vans. Last week we advertised some ex-tire service vans with compressors on. We sold 2 or 3 of them really fast. So we'll have a go at that. But people are like, can you sell? I honestly swear to God, I don't know if I said this last time, but someone asked me to sell planes. Just like little planes. They're like £2.5 million each. Well, do you think you could sell these?
Sell my plane.
Sell my plane. Boats and
you never know.
This time
next you.
I'm open. I'm open to if I think if I think it appeals to our audience, then I'll have a go.
The weird thing about it is the relationships you build up. Like last night, Jack came round.
Yeah. So the reason we stayed in Hinckley last night is because a guy that I sell some export trucks for. I think he'd be a good person to have on your podcast, I'll be honest. The reason I sell export trucks people used to say, can I part X what I've got? And I was like, no, I don't do any part X. I only sell. But then I realized if they've got stuff, because there's a big export market for older trucks in the UK. They're million Ks, 8 years old, to Africa, Malaysia, places like that. So I was like, I can. So I've built up now a relationship with a guy that he will buy these trucks from me. Or buy them from the. So if someone rings me up, okay, I want to buy your 21 plate Volvo. I've got a 15 plate Volvo to part X. Now I can do that. So this guy called Jack will buy these Volvos, and it allows that guy then to buy the truck off of me. So it's sort of a little
wheels with it.
Yeah. So it works well together. But what is like I know a lot of hauliers, but there are so many hauliers I never knew of before. I knew who they were, never dealt with them, but the relationships that I've built with hauliers that I'm now get on really well with. Some of them have come back to me like the 5th or 6th time to sell trucks. One haulier I've sold 12 trucks from. The relationships I'm building with these hauliers, brilliant. Really, really, really
amazing.
Good. Yeah.
Jack was impressive. He's what, 29?
He's 28, coming up 29,
okay.
But
really,
his family company is called John Brinley.
Okay.
Yeah, big.
4th generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't get many of them nowadays.
He actually sort of drove us around his yard and the area. Said, well, that's my dad's house. That's my granddad's house. That's my great uncle's.
We got that, and we got that. So it was all an enormous farm which they sort of put into transport. But they got a huge operation. Really, really impressive. And I've never met. I've been dealing with him for the last 2 years, and I've never met him. And he's like, we really need to meet. And I was like, okay. I told him about the podcast, and I was like, I'm staying in Hinckley, so we're staying in Hinckley, and then we'll go out for some dinner. We went out for a meal last night. He's only a young lad, and then when the bill come, he's like, that's on me, lads. You come up to visit me.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really, really. Good lad.
But he was such a interacting. I didn't know him from Adam.
No, someone you could talk to.
That we're already planning now to go to the farmer's.
Yeah, Jeremy Clarkson's
dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
In February.
I want to do that.
Yeah, farmer's dog. Yeah, cool.
But Jack's a young lad, but he has got transport in his blood.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He grew up around it and knows.
Yeah,
and he still goes out driving.
Yeah, he still drives. Yeah,
fair play.
Yeah. But nice kid, only young lad, but he'll have a big future in transport.
Nice.
Yeah, so
gotta have a passion for it.
Yeah, you are. You have to love what this. You have to. Like when last time I done the podcast, you said to me, what would be my advice for people that wanted to get into transport? And I was like, don't. It's a terrible idea. And you run the risk of losing your house, losing your marriage, losing your family. And I was at a truck show, Shepton Mallet truck show a few months back. And a guy came up to me. Yeah, we went together, but I lost him as soon as I got there. But a guy came up to me, and I didn't know him. A lot of people recognised me and said hello. And the guy came up to me, he said, I just want to say thanks. I was like, what for? He said, I was about to buy a truck until I watched your podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, and then I didn't. He said, and I'm certain I did the right thing. He said, I was about to buy a lorry. So for me, the hauliers that are making money out of transport are the ones that are well established. It's really, really difficult to buy a truck and a trailer, get work, make money. And it's the risk is too great for me. But there is money to be made in transport, but
it's just really difficult.
You need to have the equipment before you can find the work.
Yeah.
And nobody will give you the work unless you've got the equipment.
And then you've got to find a niche market.
We were, with the hanging meat that we did, we were niche. And by the end of it, we worked for all the biggest customers that wanted us to work for them. And it wasn't really down to price. It was down to service and loyalty. But there is money to be made in transport, but it's extremely difficult. It is extremely stressful. But there are so many people, young drivers, that have a dream of becoming an owner driver. It doesn't matter what you say, what I say, what anyone says, they're going to do it. And it's so easy to get finance these days. So I've just got a guy financed now. He had an interim operator's license. He didn't have any work, and I got him finance on a £65,000 truck and a £35,000 trailer.
Wow.
Without any work.
Wow.
And like the finance companies wouldn't have done that 10 years ago.
Craziness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, they tie you in now with personal guarantees.
Which is just,
yeah,
they do tie
so
you in.
that's your house, your car, everything gone.
So if you want finance now, if you haven't got any trading history, but you own your own property,
they'll have director's guarantees.
Yeah, that's enough. They'll get you finance on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just if you want to be in transport and you want to be an owner driver, good luck to you. But do your research.
Well, everybody finances everything now, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I think
literally, it is everything now, though. You know,
there is hauliers that are in a position where because you would buy a truck for 160, 170 grand. And there would be 30 grand's worth of interest on the finance for that. So there is some hauliers, the ones that have been going an awful long time. Like me and my dad, we've got the 3 660 Scanias. They're bought and paid for outright. Yeah. And we've got 5 trailers. They're all paid for outright. So that suddenly makes the job a lot more profitable. The trucks are depreciating every month. Most trucks depreciate by £1,000 a month. So you have to take into the fact the depreciation. But if you can, for me, the best advice I can give for people in transport is do the least amount of kilometers possible.
Yeah. Because
the diesel is the biggest cost. Do the least, get a job where you're earning sensible money for a small distance and buy a modest truck. Like I sell the most blinged up lorries you can ever imagine, but they still earn the same money as a truck that costs 30 grand.
Yeah.
It's all about your ego. There's 2 ways of buying a truck. You either buy it with your head or you buy it with your dick. There's the 2 ways of people buying. That is 2 ways of buying trucks.
Yeah, depends how excited you are for the truck.
I'm a hypocrite. We have got blinged up Scanias, top of the range V8 Scanias.
Difference is though.
Yeah. However,
and you own them.
Yeah. But we've been
waving.
30 plus after 30 plus years in transport. Not for me, but for my dad. 30 plus years in transport. He's built that up. But I see people now that just started with the most blinged up lorries ever, and I'm like, all of the profit that you're potentially making is just paying off your truck.
That's it. At least if you do own it, everything you earn is profit.
But again, you've got to bear in mind that you've then got to replace that shortly. So all that profit isn't profit.
A lot of people that bought trucks during COVID, second-hand trucks during COVID, have lost out a great deal because they bought their trucks when the prices were sky high. They would have normally bought new trucks, but they weren't available. So they bought second-hand trucks with 300,000 Ks on when they wouldn't have been the ideal choice of trucks. And then they kept those trucks for 18 months, put another 200,000 Ks on them, 250,000 Ks. Suddenly those trucks I spoke to a guy that asked me to sell 4 Volvos for him, and I priced them up at worth 20 grand each, and he still owed 40,000 each on the finance for each truck. So he couldn't afford to sell them. He was going to have to run them on, and they got to an age where they were now becoming unreliable. So he was paying the high finance and the high maintenance costs. So with trucks, you have a low value truck and pay a lot on maintenance, or you have a high value truck and pay a lot on finance, but little on maintenance. So they equal themselves out. If you can have a low value truck, which is extremely reliable, and you maintain it yourself, and you've got regular work, you'll earn money in transport.
Yeah.
Good money in transport. The job also gets really difficult when you employ people. So you'll have an owner driver with 1 truck, 1 trailer, doing really well for himself. Suddenly thinks, if I get another truck, I'll earn twice as much money. Doesn't work like that. So
half as much again, maybe.
So if you have 10 trucks, the 10th truck will earn a tiny percentage of profit compared to what the first truck will earn, and it goes down the line. So 10 trucks is not 10 times. It's 10 times the stress, 10 times the headaches, but it's not 10 times the profit.
Interesting, that, isn't it? Right. You never would have thought that.
No.
But you're absolutely right.
What's the plan? Because everybody watching or listening to this probably won't realise, but it's Monday now, midday. What's the plans this week? What are you doing after this?
Well, for me, I don't know because I haven't looked. I'm back to work tomorrow, I assume.
Yeah. Back off, back down to Europe, are you? Yeah.
I don't really have much of a plan.
No.
I'm
For somebody who's got a plan for everything.
Yeah, I won't go back to the office after this. I'll go home after this. Hopefully tomorrow I can pick my Audi up from the garage, which is having a new alternator fitted.
I'll ring him up tomorrow morning and they'll be, all right. Yeah, I'm sat on the settee in my pants. Well, then he's like, go away.
Just waiting for Audi to ring.
Well, I didn't know if I was going to say this story or not, but I am. But when I went down to the south of France for a friend of mine a few months back, this is the downside of social media. I pulled in. There was 4 of us that were driving down together, and we had to get to this. It was the Lions Festival, which is a huge advertising festival in the south of France. Facebook and Google and all that. That's where they advertise. It's probably one of the biggest festivals in the world, and there was so many trucks going down there from all different companies. And a friend of mine's got a transport company. He's like, "Can you drive a truck down? I'll fly you back, and then I'll fly you back out a week later." I was like, "Yeah, I can do that. That's fine." So I got to the parking area. It's a place called La Boca. It's not a very pleasant place to park, but it's where everyone parks. But I was flying home anyway. People were staying down there for a week. And I got there, there was people I knew and there was people I recognised. There's people that knew me and they were all in front of their lorries in the deck chairs having a beer. So I thought, jumped out, someone handed me a beer straight away. So I drank the beer and I'm dressed in not appropriately for weather that was 30 odd degrees. So I thought I'd go back to the truck and get some shorts and t-shirt and flip flops on. So I went back to the lorry. I just in my pants and there's a bang on the door. and you
missed a bit.
Pink pants, pair of pink pants. So there was a bang on the door and I thought it was someone bringing me a beer. So I just my pants on, pulled the curtain back. Open the door. Yeah, just pulled the curtain back, opened the door and there's a guy there probably in his 60s. And I didn't recognise him. Yeah, I didn't recognise him. And he said, I opened the door. I said, all right, mate. He said, let's see how fucking hard you are now then. I was like, sorry? He said, get out of the truck. I was like, why? He said, because I'm going to fight you. I was like, I don't even know who you are. And it turned out that I'd mugged him off on Facebook about 6 months before on a comment. So he was parked up with a couple, long story short, he was parked up with a couple of drivers that didn't like me. Didn't have anything pleasant to say about me, which is fine. Look, if you don't like me, I have no issues with that. That's absolutely, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But so these people were kicking me to death and they'd all had a few beers. So he then said something on my Facebook about me. Really, really horrible derogatory comment. So I absolutely ridiculed him. My way of getting to people is by making them look stupid. Yeah. So I burned him on Facebook and then everybody was commenting on it. And people say type stupid things when they're drunk. But he said, he said, you called me the C word. And I was like, I didn't call you that because I know what would happen to my page if I wrote that word on my page, I would have a ban. So I didn't call you that. And then it sort of come back to me that I can remember a few months back of making someone look incredibly stupid. This is a guy in his 60s. I'm like, and he said, well, get out, I'm going to fight you. I was like, really? I thought to myself, and then I see all the other drivers start getting their phones out of their pockets. I was like, oh my days. I said, I thought to myself, there's going to be a video on Facebook. This is either going to go two ways. There's going to be a video of me in my pants beating this guy up, which is going to be all over Facebook, or there's going to be a video of this guy beating me up in my pants all over. I thought either way, it's not going to end well. And I said to the guy, you took the time out of your day to come onto my page to criticize me and you didn't like it when I made you look stupid. He said, yeah. And now I'm going to fight you. I was like, how old are you? He said, old enough to beat you. I was like, Jesus, here we go. And in the end, it's sort of, I'm one of these that tries to de-escalate a situation. And all I could think of was if I can get close enough to him in the passenger seat, I'm going to kick him in the face so hard with my heel. And then I'm just going to jump on. But there were visions that were going through my mind. But I was like, it's a terrible idea. Don't do it. And I was like, do you really want to do this? In front of all these people, do you really want to do this? He's like, well, let's just shake hands and forget about it. Okay, and I shook his hand and then he was fine after that. But that is the downside of social media. People think that what you type is so serious when it's not. It's all fun. It's all for, but
it's not the real world.
Of course, I agree.
I thought to myself that how I'm going to get into a fight with a guy in his 60s because of Facebook. Absolutely,
that's the world we live in now.
Outrageous.
People have got fingers on nuke buttons, because it's crazy.
Oh my days! And afterwards,
we're back to Donald Trump.
We've got full circle.
And afterwards, I got out and I spoke to all the other drivers. I had another beer, and one of them was like, "Did that really just just happened. I was like, that really just happened.
Crazy.
And
You missed it.
the guy that I went down there with, he is the guy that squeezed the guy by the throat that time. He got his own truck and trailer now. And when I got there, when it all happened, I was like, where the fuck's Dave? And he had gone to do a recce of the local area, find out where the nearest Chinese was and the nearest bar. And when he got back, I told him, and he laughed. I said, what would you have done if it had kicked off? He said, I would have filmed it. He said, and I would have tried to get a kick in on you when you were down. I said, you wouldn't have helped me. He's like, no, it would have been too funny for that. I wouldn't have helped you.
Brilliant.
Oh, cheers.
Well, you did the right thing then.
So that is how Facebook
can. This Dave will rescue me.
He's the same guy that squeezed the guy's Adam's apple. And then when he rang me up, he said, this is what's happened. He said, and I'm not sorry. If I have to bring the lorry back to the yard now and finish because of it, I will. But I'm not saying sorry, and I'm not sorry. And that is when we backed him. And then I put it onto the good, the bad, and the ugly. Put it onto Facebook. But people on the last podcast, like, definitely really give me shit saying I was lying. It never happened.
No.
Honestly,
the best bit is though, he's a cracking bloke, isn't he?
Oh, top absolute diamond of a guy. But he's such an odd character. He's a right loner, does his own thing, but he loves a beer. But he's not interested in ball. He has no. I think he's got an Instagram page for his business, but he doesn't do any social. He's not the bloke that goes to a pub and takes a picture of a pint. And he's a very odd character, but top bloke. Real good company with his people that are close to him.
God.
I speak to Dave once or twice a week, probably. And one of the few, most of them, little legs, crewing.
I'm still in regular contact with the lads that work for me. Some of the lads.
God, testament to the character.
And some of them just hang up.
And it's been 2 years now since we've sort of packed up. Over 2 years since we've packed up.
Still chasing them for damages.
100%. Yeah, for all the sleepless nights that they put me through.
That's it. Payback now.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Well, thanks ever so much for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. We've been rolling for 2.5 hours, by the way.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
No, 2.5 hours.
It's amazing,
2.5 hours.
It's amazing how it goes.
If you've enjoyed this episode, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next.